State too. So.
Yep.
Two balls, two strikes to Bryce Harper. Suarez delivers. Swing and a drive. Left field. It's deep. It's going.
Yes!
And it is gone!
Yes!
It is bedlam at the bank as Bryce Harper has put the Phillies on top.
Are you kidding me? Oh!
His 10th career home run in the postseason, and he may never hit a bigger one.
Oh. Wow. Wow.
4-3 Phillies in the bottom of the 8th inning.
It's crazy. Crazy.
All right, folks. Yeah, it's the feels like 1980 all over again. For folks who were born in the 80s, that's the last time the Astros and Phillies played each other in a playoff game. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sports Talk with Chris Heidel. I'm Chris Heidel, along with Anna Rice, who's down in their beautiful Charlotte area. Not Charlotte, but Asheville, North Carolina area.
That's right, Chris.
Yeah, he could be in Charlotte. You never know. Our person who's running for campaign, George Pachero, will be joining us hopefully later in the show to tell everybody what he's been doing. He's not missing in action. He's just busy out there knocking on doors, kissing babies, and all that stuff. So, the whole 9 yards. So, today's date is October 25th, 2022. Thanks for joining us. We're going to talk a little college basketball because everybody's doing their media days now for college basketball in between college football. So we'll look at the lineup here coming up in shortly. Here, let me bring it up here. I had it on here during the. Here it is. 7:05, the Monmouth Hawks women's basketball coach, Ginny Boggess, will be joining us. She is from Penn State University after a couple of years up there at Penn State College. So we'll talk to her. And around 7:15 on the phone, we'll talk to Greg Auman, who is who covers the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because this Thursday night on Prime Video, or if you're in the Baltimore metro area, it's on ABC2, or if you're in Tampa, it's probably going to be on an ABC station. Lamar Jackson taking on some guy named Brady on a Thursday night football game. So that's going to be a very interesting game as well. So that we'll talk a little about that as well today. Plus, we'll talk a little Division III football because we'll have Coach who'll be coming on from Susquehanna University, Tom Pervenovich, will be joining us. And around at 8:45, around 8:30, Melvin Pearsall, a former Florida State tight end back in the days of the great run that Florida State had from the early 80s. He was part of the 94 through 97 campaign. He only lost Adam 4 games in his 4 years at Florida State. That's pretty good. Now they're averaging 4 losses a year.
Yeah, that's right, Chris. Is that right?
So they're going to be taking on they're going to be Florida State at high noon on Saturday at Tallahassee, taking on a good Georgia Tech team that's finally figuring out what they're doing after firing a very good coach in Coach Collins. I think Coach Collins ran himself out of town with his swagger and all that garbage he was trying to put down in Atlanta. So I guess they just went back. I don't know. They might be going back to basics. So that's pretty interesting. So let's bring in the head coach of Monmouth University. We're going to go to South Jersey for this phone call, or this video chat. I'm from Long Island, so I know where South Jersey is. So, Adam, you want to welcome her in?
Yeah, on this, we are going to happily be joined by this young lady who is in her second season as head coach of Monmouth University in their inaugural year in the CAA. So let's bring in head coach Ginny Boggess. And Coach, welcome to the show. And tell us about this transition from the Northeast Conference to the CAA this year.
No, thank you guys so much for having me. We're really excited about the transition. I mean, I think you can see from the successes from our other sports that this is an absolutely welcome invite from the CAA. We're ready to take on this next challenge and this next level. And you can see it again from the successes that our football team has had early on, and women's lacrosse, women's field hockey just clinched their conference tournament. So some really good things happening in West Long Branch, and we're excited for our opportunity to get started here in a couple weeks.
I think the football team's still playing because they had that 7 overtime game on Saturday. I didn't realize it's 7 overtime until I saw a tweet on Twitter about the Rhode Island coach winning his 50th game as the Rhode Island coach. I'm like, 7 overtime?
Yeah,
I was like,
it was a heck of a battle too. We were there. We had some big time recruits on campus for homecoming, and they got off to a hot start, and they're battling. I mean, they've been in every single game, and it's awesome because Coach Cal and I, actually, our head football coach, we share a wall. And so we get to visit just about every day, and he's an incredible man, an incredible leader, and I'm excited what his program is going to do at this next level as well. Yeah,
he's been with that program for a very long time. And it's cool to see him go through 3 different conferences. Bringing a team from South Jersey that you don't even know. Because if you look on the map, and the only thing you know in South Jersey is Atlantic City, and you lose your money. Pretty much. Or you go to a concert. And now he's building up a program and a football program. Now you go, oh, there's something down in South Jersey? Really?
Yeah, everything's better down the shore. Come on now.
I know. Besides Phillies baseball, I know that.
They're pretty hot right now. I got to give credit where credit's due. They're hot right now. They're smoking. So, good for them. We had a lot of Philly jerseys at the football game on Saturday, actually. So, there's a strong Philly influence over here at the shore always.
Yeah, he's a Braves fan. I'm a Met fan, and we just didn't play well. I think my team decided to take the wrong weekend off.
Early exit.
And the Braves I think the Braves just ran out of gas.
Yeah, that's right, Chris. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, I was born and raised in West Virginia, and we all just kind of navigate toward the Reds. So we were early out as well.
Gotcha, Coach. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So let's talk about last year as your first season there in South Jersey, and big improvement, a 12-win margin from the year before that. So that must have been really cool to see you guys doing really well in that former conference.
Yeah, it was a really fun year. I didn't know what to expect coming in. You take a job and you never know what's going to be there when you open up the cupboards. But we had an incredible group of young women, and they were extremely coachable. They really bought into the system. They bought into our core values. They bought into the mission, which was to out-team the other team. We didn't have a first-team All-CAA kid sitting in the locker room waiting, and they really bought into playing team basketball, playing hard together, and outworking everybody else. And so that manufactured some wins in the win column. I think got us a lot of momentum in recruiting, and we were able to bring in some pretty talented kids that have really added to our size, our physicality, our athleticism this year. And I really like what I'm seeing on the floor so far.
That's cool. Adam, you got a question?
Yeah. One thing I've always wanted to ask a college basketball coach is, how do you determine your non-conference schedule? Is it a couple years in advance, or how do you determine that?
It's a great question. And there's, I think, a million different answers. It's really a philosophical question. I mean, if you look at what King Rice has done on our men's side, he schedules up, schedules big, goes on the road, and knocks off some giants. They had an incredible start last year against some powerhouses. I finished up most of the schedule that I inherited from the previous staff. As you guys probably know, we do a lot of home and home contractual agreements. So I had to finish up a lot of that. And this year we were excited to pick up St. John's. We're at LaSalle. We're going out to BYU. But the idea is to prepare for the rigor of the CAA and make sure, in my mind, we want to play some like opponents. We want to play somebody that plays a matchup zone like Drexel will. We want to play somebody that's going to play up tempo with speed and athleticism and switch, 1 through 5 like Towson will. And so we want to be prepared and see people that, are going to get us ready for the CAA, but we also want to prepare our resume for postseason play and make sure that we're putting ourselves, as we build this program, in contention for a high seed or an opportunity for an NIT bid or an NCAA bid as the CAA continues to get back to being a multi-bid league on the women's side.
Yeah, I think the CAA is trying to find that void, with JNU going to the Sun Belt, and before that was Old Dominion. Old Dominion was dominating the CAA, and those two schools are now on. The funny thing is they're in the same league again. Yeah, it's like really? That's
old friends, absolutely.
Why don't you just stay in the CAA? What do you want to go to this? But they're probably but I think the CAA is great, adding you guys, and then Stony Brook, the ladies, full time membership now. Before that was just football,
right?
And you guys went to different places. Then North Carolina A&T, and then it's going to be a different way of watching the CAA this year. And you're going to be like, what? Is that a CAA game?
Yeah.
It's like you're going to be confused.
Team from Jersey that's doing some things up there. No, it's so fun because there's a lot of new faces in the league as far as, adding new teams, but there's also new head coaches. And it's incredible for me because a lot of the women that were hired, we came up in this business together. We've been in it the last 15 to 20 years together, sitting on the sidelines at AAU events, duking it out over recruits, and just to see their successes and to now have that healthy respect and that healthy competition going into the league. Danielle Santos Atkinson is the head coach of Hofstra. She and I were assistant coaches at Hofstra together from 06 to 08. So go way, way back into the archives. So we're both familiar with the league. She's in her 3rd or 4th year at Hofstra now. So, just reuniting with old friends. And we're all excited to grow and build this league together and make it special. And
the cool thing is you're going to new places that you've never been before.
Absolutely.
Like Towson, you probably you were with Penn State, you probably played against Towson or coached against them. And then,
but it's cool. And the MAC was amazing. Like, don't get me wrong, the MAC is an incredible conference, and two Sweet 16 teams in the MAC with Quinnipiac and Marist, so incredible basketball. But this will be a different experience for our student athletes, going up to Boston, going down to Charleston, South Carolina, visiting Williamsburg, Virginia, experiencing the culture of an HBCU at NCA&T. So there's a lot of things that our young women are going to grow and learn in this experience that spans far beyond basketball, which I'm excited for them. And I really believe and value in the student athlete experience. And so I'm excited for that for our kids.
Yeah. Adam, you have a last question? Go ahead.
Now, when you go up to Boston, you got to go get some authentic New England clam chowder or some authentic New England seafood.
I'm not mad about that at all. We will be there.
Because I'm from New England, so it's like I've had seafood in my time, 13 years in New Hampshire before moving down here in North Carolina. And I saw that you guys are going to have some games televised by SNY, Sportsnet New York. How cool is that going to be to see Monmouth women's basketball on a regional sports network this year?
I think it's incredible. And shout out to Greg Viscomi and his staff for really putting the Monmouth name out there. He's built a ton of relationships in the region over his years at Monmouth. And, I think everyone knows we've got a really good product to put on the floor. And it's a credit to the conference. It's our local games, it's our home games, and they want to see their women's basketball teams compete at a really high level. Our game is growing. As you guys know, the women's basketball game is exploding from the WNBA all the way down and to the grassroots. And so I'm excited about what's happening for women's basketball as a whole. I'm excited about the CAA getting our conference championship game, televised by CBS. I'm excited about us being on SNY. There's some really big time things happening in the league. And, you guys are an extension of that too, of just giving us an opportunity to share what we're doing and this brand of basketball that we're going to put out on the floor.
Yeah, I think it's great for women's basketball. And plus, I just saw that ESPN is going to do all these games for women's basketball. It's like, I think ESPN, I don't know how many broadcasters they got. They should be calling us to help out.
Hey, we'll give you the plug. I got you guys.
Yeah, come on. If you need help, Adam and I will definitely do a women's basketball game.
Sure. I can do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hey, that's how you get the gig, right? I know a guy. I got a guy.
Yeah. Maybe Coach there will get us a little gig for the weekend. We don't have to worry about working in our jobs there, Adam. Yeah.
There you go.
We'll put you up at the shore. It'll be nice.
Sure.
Well, Jeannie, thank you so much for coming on, and I hope you guys have a great trip to Queens on November 7th, taking us St. John's. I know it's not at Madison Square Garden, but it's still St. John's. But
we'll go to Carnesecca. We'll let it rain. It's an old rivalry for me.
I do have a travel tip for you because I'm from Long Island. If you go to Queens, get there a little bit earlier because traffic's really bad.
Absolutely. So it's a non-traditional doubleheader. We're actually playing at 1:00 on that Monday. Tuesday is obviously election day. So we're going to get it in early and get back home. And I'm excited. A long-standing rivalry. I was at Marquette for 5 years. And so we actually clinched the number 1 seed at St. John's one year. And we actually lost at St. John's one year and ended up tying for the 1 seed with DePaul. So I have a lot of memories at St. John's. They have a strong tradition, and I'm excited to bring that rivalry, that New York, New Jersey rivalry back to Monmouth and St. John's women's basketball.
That's cool. That's awesome. So we'll have a safe trip, but we'll try to talk to you when you hopefully when the season starts and when you get to Towson. We'll try to get back on. Okay.
Would love it. Thank you guys again so much. I really appreciate it.
All right. Talk to you soon. Have a great day. Great evening.
Take care.
See you. All right. That's the head coach of Monmouth University, Coach Ginny Boggess, with us. Really good. That's cool. So it's called.
Really happy to see a regional sports network like SNY is going to have Monmouth women's basketball, and they're going to have some of Monmouth men's basketball too, Chris. So pretty cool to have a regional sports network. They'll televise games. So fans can watch it. And see this women's game grow. It's like, I can remember back in the day, Chris. The only thing televised was, the women's Final Four, and a lot of games weren't televised. And now look where the game of women's college basketball is. ESPN released their schedules today. It's like,
yeah, exactly. Well, we're gonna get Greg on the phone here.
Hello.
Hi, Greg. This is Chris Heidel from Herman Radio in Baltimore. How you doing?
Hey, doing fine.
Doing great. I know you got 10 minutes, but thank you so much for taking some time here.
Can you do me a favor? Can we bump this I don't know, 5 minutes and do the same thing? Is that okay?
Yeah, we can do it in 5 minutes. We can do it real
that'd
quick.
Be great.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I know you're
thank
busy.
You very much.
You're a busy guy. I totally appreciate your time
No
anyway.
Thanks, man.
No problem. This week, Thursday night football between Tampa and Baltimore. So, okay. Do you want to call him back?
I guess so.
Okay.
I guess call him in 5 minutes, Chris.
Okay, call him back in 5 minutes. All right. I thought you wanted to do 5 minutes real quick, but I guess you want me to call him back in 5. Okay. But anyway, well, this is what live TV is, folks.
Yeah, that's right. The power of technology, Chris. The power of technology.
Yeah, the power of TV. So anyway, on this date, back in 1986.
I know where you're going.
Yes. Let's listen to classic tunes of Vince Scully.
Down. Lined into left field, base hit for Carter, and the Mets are still alive. Curveball, and that's going to be hit to center, base hit. And now suddenly with 2 out in the 10th inning, the tying run And that's going to be hitting to center field, base hit. Here comes Carter to score, and the tying run is at third in Kevin Mitchell. And it's going to go to the backstop. Here comes Mitchell to score the tying run, and Ray Knight is at second base. So the winning run is at second base with 2 out, 3-2 to Mookie Wilson. Little roller up along first, behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
And the pitch by Stanley, and a ground ball, trickling. It is a fair ball. Gets by Buckner. Rounding third Knight. The Mets will win the ball game. The Mets win. They win. Unbelievable. The Red Sox in stunned disbelief. A slow ground ball went right through the legs of Buckner down the right field line. The Mets have won the ball game. 3 runs in the bottom half of the 10th inning.
Yes.
Yep.
Back on this date in 1986.
Yep. I knew that was coming, Chris.
Yes.
And
And the next night over, the Red Sox had a lead in
Yes.
Game 7
Yes.
until some guy named Strawberry came up and hit
Yes.
one out of the ballpark. And then Ray
Yes.
Knight came up right after and hit one right off of Calvin Ciraldi, who was a Met pitcher a year before that because they
Yes.
told him to hit the road,
Yes.
Jack. You know,
Yes.
so.
I knew
That's,
you played. I knew you were. When I saw that it had been
Yeah.
that long, Chris, I was like, I wonder if Chris would play the clip. I was like,
You know me, I figured that out. I knew that.
yeah, it was like it was heartbreak for us Red Sox fans. You know that, Chris, right?
I know, but it's really cool that no, it was. And then the second memory is the if you want second best memory is the grand slam single by Ventura and against you guys in the rain at Shea.
Yeah,
That was a home run. If he
I know.
touched the bag, it would have been a grand slam. But the problem is it became a grand slam single because of he did not touch second base. He
That's
got
right.
mobbed around first base, so technically it was a grand slam single.
Yep.
And 2 runs scored instead of 4 runs.
Yep.
So.
That's right, Chris.
All right, so I guess we'll try to call Greg again because I guess he hung up on us. That's we'll try again here. I feel like Don Imus,
Oh, I know. I know where you're going. I know where you're going, Chris.
Maybe I should order 1,200 hot hamburgers. Yeah.
Mm.
All right, so he said 5 minutes, so it's been 5 minutes, right?
Yes, it has. It's been 5 minutes, Chris.
Okay. I texted him yesterday. He doesn't text back. So let's get Greg on here.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, Greg. Are you all set to go?
Yeah, all good. Sorry, thank you.
That's okay. I didn't hear you. I was like talking about Thursday Night Football. I'm like, okay, I guess we'll call him back at 5. Anyway, thanks for coming on. I know you're a pretty busy guy. So
Sure.
This Thursday night, Lamar Jackson rolls into Tampa to take on Tom Brady. He hasn't played against Brady in a couple years when he was with New England. So let's talk about this game coming up on Thursday night. A quick turnaround for both squads.
Yeah, anytime you go from Sunday to Thursday, physically takes a toll. I mean, the Bucs are only doing walkthrough practices this week. To come back from any kind of injury is really tough. So, I think it's one of those where half the battle, I mean, Baltimore has a little bit of a disadvantage because they're the road team on top of everything else. But yeah, it just kind of makes for whichever team can get themselves physically ready has a big advantage on Thursday night for sure.
Yeah, I hope it's a great game because I know these Thursday night games have been, except for last Thursday, was pretty good with Arizona and New Orleans. But the past couple of weeks have been like one of those like I want to go to bed early, type of games.
Yeah, no, they've got better, and I think Thursday should be a better game. I mean, the quality of the quarterbacks is certainly a step up from what they've been having the last couple of weeks for sure.
Yeah, let's talk about the weather down there. It's going to be a pretty nice Florida evening down there, but for people up here in Baltimore, we're not used to. We're still used to the 74 degrees, but there's no humidity on Thursday night. So is that a big factor for both squads, because the humidity is a big factor down there?
Yeah, I mean, the Bucs are certainly used to it. They've been on the road the last two. They've had nice kind of cooler weather in Pittsburgh and Charlotte, and it hasn't necessarily gone real well for them. So maybe they'll be happy to get back to mid-80s and humid and muggy and everything that football in Florida, even in late October, is.
That's true. Hey, Adam, you got a question for
Yeah.
Greg?
No, Greg, because I lived in New England for a long time. So I'm used to Tom Brady, and Tom Brady lost to the Carolina Panthers. I still can't believe that on Sunday. So how can Tampa Bay bounce back with the win against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens on Thursday night?
Yeah, this is a much more difficult opponent than the teams they've lost badly to the last 2 weeks. I mean, at least Pittsburgh, you can say it was close, and they were a missed 2-point conversion away from maybe getting that one. Sunday in Charlotte was a rough game all around. The offense did so little. The defense played really well for probably 2.5 quarters, but then gave up 139 yards rushing in the second half and 2 bad touchdowns, and really kind of let the game slip away. I don't know if the offense ever would have woken up enough to make it matter, but both sides of the ball, aren't playing well. There's injuries that are depleting the Bucs secondary. They're making a change on the offensive line. There's lots of things that they've got to push through, but they can play so much better than they've played. This is an offense that is used to averaging 30 points a game, and they've scored 21 or less in all but one game. So they're going to bounce back eventually here. It would definitely help them if they can get it started on Thursday.
Yeah, what do you think's just been the factor? Because I know everybody has injuries, because everybody in the NFL didn't practice in preseason because they didn't want to. They put all the the second string, fourth string, and all those people. So this is technically their 6th game of the year, if you don't want to count the first game of the year, because that's almost like spring training for them. But what's been the difference in this Bucs offense than last year's Bucs offense at this time?
Yeah, I mean, they've got 3 new starters on the offensive line. Their whole interior is new and not as good. I mean, Ali Marpet and Ryan Jensen were 2 Pro Bowl players last year, and they've replaced them with, a rookie in Luke Gedeke at left guard and a second-year guy who hadn't really played last year in Robert Hainsey at center. And there's been a drop-off there, especially with Gedeke. He's got a foot injury and might get replaced by another backup, Nick Leverett, on Thursday. And I think having the inconsistency in the offensive line has kind of made Brady less confident and less willing to hold on to the ball. It's amazing that he's been sacked as little as he has. And I think the main reason is that he's just getting rid of the ball. He's kind of aborting plays before they have time to develop. And that's at the expense of their downfield passing. I mean, 2 years ago, they led the NFL. They had 33 plays of 30 yards or more. And they have 4 right now, a third of the way through the season. So they've really lost that explosiveness. That makes it easier for defenses to stop them in the run game. They have the worst run game in the NFL. They have the worst yards per carry of any NFL team in 22 years. They're bad in the red zone. They're bad on third down. They're bad in short yardage. All the high leverage situations you want to be at your best at, they're playing really bad at. So again, it's something they can turn around, but they need to do it soon if they want to think of themselves as a playoff team and a relevant team this season.
Yeah, it's pretty funny, Greg. I was doing some research on this series. They haven't played each other since 2014, and Baltimore rolled in, and Joe Flacco had like 3-4 touchdowns in that game. And I was like, wow, that's a long time ago in Tampa.
Yeah, I mean, the AFC teams, you only play every 4 years. So They played in 18 in Baltimore. Lamar had a good game. I think he rushed for 95, only threw for 131. No one that's thrown for that 2 yards has beaten the Bucs since then. But he's good enough they can win on the ground. I think it's one of those where it's a limited amount of games between Lamar and Brady, and obviously it might not be many more after this one. But yeah, the Bucs, that 14 game was just a nasty, nasty game. I think it was 38-3 early in the second half or something like that. It was one of those games that got out of hand pretty quickly.
That's true. Well, Greg, thanks so much for coming on. I know you're a busy guy. Thanks for taking some time, and hope you enjoy the game Thursday night, and hopefully we'll have a great game and one of those classics.
All right. Thanks again. Enjoy the game Thursday.
All right, Greg. Thanks.
Thanks, Greg.
All right. That's Greg Auman, who covers the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the Athletic down there in beautiful Tampa Bay. So let's bring in this guy is from the same area, Adam. He is a Boston bred, Boston born, and he's probably used to the Tom Brady's beating up on people, and he's probably right now going, we wish we had Tom on Monday night. Because,
oh yeah.
somehow the Bears became, Jim McMahon and the Chicago Bears.
Oh,
So
yeah. But last night it was Justin Fields.
yeah, I know. Here's Phil Wright, who was the assistant GM at the Bay Sox for years, and this year he's been moving on to a different thing. So hi Phil, how you doing?
Good. How you guys doing tonight?
Not bad. Yeah, last night that Monday Night Football game is not good for anybody who's a Boston resident. So you probably wish you had Tom Brady back.
Yeah, I'm a little tired today. I got depressed watching that game, and it was just kind of a Monday night battle that you just don't want to sit through.
Like, no, I want to go to bed now. And you're like, oh no, I gotta watch this. This is gonna be good. And you're like,
I was wondering if like Scott Zolak was going to come out and play QB in the fourth quarter or something. Like, please no.
It almost felt like I was saying earlier before I brought you in. It's like it looked like Jim McMahon behind the center.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? That's the '85 Super Bowl. We don't need to see that again.
No, I remember that one vividly. Was alive for that one, and the past 20 years have been a lot better than the 85, 86 team.
Yeah. So being a assistant GM of a minor league team, explain to folks what it was your job at Bowie, because I know you did a lot of things. I was reading all about, with Bowie. You were there early in the morning. Somebody did an article about you. You got back from Altoona at like 1 a.m, and then you're there like 8 the next day, and you're like, I knew you probably slept in the office overnight sometimes, but just talk about what was your job.
So when I first started there in 1999, I was a ticket and group sales representative. So, we're talking, we're almost predating internet at that point. And when you were sending an email, you had to type SMTP : / to get an email out back at that time. So I can't even remember. I remembered SMTP.
Oh my God.
Send mail to person is what that stood for, if you remember that. And we had 1 or 2 computers in the office, and everybody tried to get access to them, but open up the phone books and pound the phones and try to sell groups and season ticket plans and things like that. And then steadily moved up as people moved on, and I got promoted up into the marketing department, promotions department, things like that, up to assistant GM back 2006, 5, somewhere in that range. It was a long time ago, and it was there's a lot of turnover in minor league baseball. It's a lot of people come in with the ideas that you're going to, hang out with the players and, and do things with them every day, where the reality is very few people hang out, quote unquote, with the players, but there's a job to do.
Right.
And, the idea of hanging out with the players for me was, hey, we had a community event coming up, or an event that we needed them to participate in, a baseball camp, something like that. So I'm going down trying to give them an opportunity to assist and do some community outreach, and maybe they make a few dollars out of that they could use, getting them to help out with things around the ballpark when they're home, those types of things. And you get friendly with them by doing that. Right. And, that was a lot of, my experience, but throughout, my tenure there, when somebody would leave, somebody had to pick up the slack. So a lot of times I was like, hey, I'll give it a shot. Case in point, 1999, my first year with the team, the owners of the team back then they had purchased 3 video board packages, one for Bowie, one for Delmarva, one for Frederick. And we got that in, and we had somebody run that for about half the season after it was installed. And then at the end of the season, that person was an intern. They moved on to other things. And I got approached and said, hey, nobody here knows how to turn that thing on. Can you give it a shot and figure out how to run it? And let the sponsorship guys know what they can put on it and what they can sell. And how a commercial gets up there. If you're selling Pepsi or, Miller Lite or something, how does the commercial go up there? So I didn't have a video background or anything like that. Didn't know what to do, but called the right people, got into some training stuff and figured that out. And then, years later, I'm negotiating, replacement of video boards and hundreds of thousands of dollar projects and things like that. And, I always used to say enough to be dangerous. I don't know whether it was dangerous to myself or anybody else, but I knew enough to talk the lingo and know what it meant. And then relied upon others. But, I did anything and everything from putting the promotional event schedule together to, helping the team out with, the community stuff. I did all the team's travel, purchased all the uniforms and set all that stuff up in the off season. I handled all the marketing, advertising, outreach, promotions, oversaw community relations. I hired and trained the people who did the game day activities, like our press box staff, PA announcer, music person, scoreboard operators, video camera operators, that type of stuff. I put together the game script every day. So what fans saw out in the ballpark during the game, I put that together. So when the sumo wrestlers came out onto the field, I scripted when that was going to happen, how we were going to do it. If I'd say 98% of what our announcers say, I wrote. I worked in and crossed that with the group sales department, the sponsorship department. We did a lot of idea generation. Sponsor comes to you going, hey, I want to be involved, but I don't know what I want to do. Well, we're going to sit down, look at the brand, get some ideas together, put it together and kind of see what happens there. So there wasn't much that I didn't have involvement in or touch or see throughout my time there, which was almost 24 years. So I've got to see, you get to see the good, the bad, and the ugly. The fans hopefully just get to see the good, and you take care of the bad and the ugly behind the scenes, and make sure it's a fun place to go.
Yeah, Phil, it's like you were just saying. You always need to learn different things. At my job, I'm learning different things because just in case somebody is not there for the day, and I say, oh, I could jump in and do it.
I did that with video. I did that with, we had a PR person leave us a few years ago, right before the season started, literally like 2 days before the season started. And so here I am, picking up the slack, writing press releases, contacting media for this, that, and the other thing, which, as you can tell, I have the gift of gab, so that works. Most Bostonians do. I learned early on how to, work with Major League Baseball, who does all of the minor league websites, and became part of, a committee that, put those things together. So I put a lot of the stuff on the website that needed to be there, the sales, the marketing, the promotion stuff. Not so much the baseball information things, but that was really more our PR and radio announcer and stuff. But if I needed to write a game story or something, jumped in and did that. Social media things as that developed. So, again, touched, saw, tasted. I handled all publications, our game programs, things like that. Anything that was graphic related, either I did or hired the people to outsource it to. So you're right. Minor league baseball, when staffs are, 10, 12, 15, 18 people, unlike a MLB staff, you just suck it up and do it. And sometimes it takes 18 hours a day to do it during the season. And, the family doesn't like that too much, but, you got to do it. If you got any pride in what you do, that's what you do.
Exactly. Hey, Adam, you have a question for
Now,
Phil?
Phil, you see what's over here, right?
I do.
I'm from I was born in Malden, Massachusetts, so I still have relatives that live inland. So it's like I am a huge Red Sox fan.
There you go.
Through and through. So it's like now, was there a favorite player you enjoyed watching? Come through Bowie before they went up to the major leagues?
Well, I had many of them. First, I'll get back. I'm from Concord, Mass, so we're a little short trip out Route 2 and 95 there.
Where that is. Where that is.
And my mom was born in Lynn, and her she lived there for a while. You know, the city of sin. You don't go out the way you came in. I know the whole.
Yep.
Lynn, the city of sin. You don't go out the way you went in. So yeah, I'm a big Boston sports fan. Bruins, Celtics, Pats. You know, Celtics, Red Sox, etc. But you know, there were many players that came through over the years. Again, over 24 years, you're going to have that. You know, for me, it was more about the relationship that I built with somebody more than their prospect or MLB status. You know, I'll never forget my first team. You know, had guys like Matt Riley on that team and Rick Short and Howie Clark and you know, there were just a bunch of really good guys that pretty much figured that they weren't gonna make it. But it was funny. I just answered earlier today. I answered a message on Facebook from a pitcher from that 1999 team. He had posted something, and he posted a 99 Bay Sox baseball card, and I saw it just scrolling through earlier. A pitcher by the name of Terry Rosencrantz. Now that name's not going to mean anything to anybody except Terry's family. But I wrote back. I said, "Hey, do you remember the day that I picked you up from BWI when you were signed by the Orioles, and I came up in the team van, picked you up, and drove you back to the ballpark?" You know, it's stuff like that 24 years ago that I remember. And, you know, then we had a little chat back and forth. Man, I loved playing there. The staff was great, you know, playing for guys like Joe Ferguson and Andy Etchebarren. And, you know, we just chatted a little bit. But those are the things for me that, you know, since I haven't been working, they really start to pop. And, you know, just going at Johnny Isom, and I'll never forget my first ever community appearance. And Johnny Isom and I went to the St. Mary's School in Annapolis, and he was going to do a talk to these students, but there was a dance team on the stage before he got up on the stage. So he jumped up on the stage and started doing this dance with the dance team, you know. Again, the weird stuff that I remember from 23, 24 years ago. But you know, it's guys like Ryan Kiefer and you know, Nick McCurdy and those guys that helped me make my job easier when I didn't have to go in the locker room and find somebody every day and beg them to catch first pitches. And, you know, if I went in there looking for somebody to do an appearance, they were like, "Yeah, what do you need? What time do I got to be there?" You know, instead of having to kind of browbeat guys or whatever. So, you know, those were the fun times and the cool stories that I'll always take with me.
Yeah. So, Phil, what's the future going to bring for you now? Because I know you're moving on from Bowie, and you know you've been there for 24 years, and now are you going to go back up to Boston and maybe live your childhood dream and work with the Red Sox? That might be a cool thing.
Yeah, I mean, if they need a GM or something, I'm more than happy to go up there and see if I can straighten that out. I don't think they're going to call me though, but right now, just you know,
we can help you. We can help you. We'll send the video up there. Like,
please do. Yeah, I mean, I can talk to the media. I'm good in front of the camera. You know, I think Heim's got a good job on, good job doing that, and that's not my forte. Even though I've played armchair GM for many years, you know, sitting there even in Bowie going, I don't know about that guy. Hey, that guy's good, and you know,
like
miss on some of them, but
it's like your own fantasy football league. You know, you're like, I don't like that guy.
Yeah. You know, and he goes for 30 points.
Like,
30 points in the fantasy league on Sunday, and I benched him. Yeah, it's great.
I did that. Hey, I did that a couple weeks ago. I had Lamar Jackson on. I was like, I benched him, thinking, he's not going to play well against the Dolphins. You know, 62 points later, I still won that week somehow because I had Murray as my quarterback. Yeah, Kyler Murray. And I'm like, how did I win when I have a guy who just got 62 points and the other guy had to go overtime and beat the Raiders? You know, I'm like,
yeah, I'm the guy that kept playing Aaron Rodgers through week 6, and then I finally dumped him. I'm like, this guy's
smart move. Smart move, Phil. Smart move.
He was terrible last week. I was like, I was at work and I'm like, we had the TV on the break room, and it was like, He only 62 yards passing.
Yeah,
What the
it's
heck is
bad.
going on with him? You know?
Although he did get more points than my other quarterback, Dak Prescott, and at least everybody else on my team flourished this week. But
Yeah.
no, for me, I'd like to stay in the sports realm. It's what I know. It's what I do best. If that's not in the cards for me, I don't think my family and I will be going up north unless, unless the right opportunity came about for us. My wife works locally here in the school system and has a good position there. We've got a lot of things keeping us around here. I mean, I moved to Maryland at 24 and 40. Here I am at 48. Spent half my life in one location, so it's unique. I haven't done this, search and look at all these postings and all that type of stuff, but something that's going to give me a little bit more time with the family. I mean, I missed a lot over the past few years and basically lived my summers at the ballpark, which I'm not complaining about at all. I certainly, I'm not the, suit and tie in a high rise in the middle of downtown DC type of guy. Shorts and a golf shirt were great for me in the middle of July in a ballpark. Those are the fun days. I know I'm not, curing cancer or, solving world peace. I did my little part to bring some joy to families and people. And hopefully, I just said, hopefully I left it a little bit better than when I got there, and did everything I could. And it was my passion and my life for 24 years. But, I'm looking at those options and see what comes next. And, hopefully something will come. Just been taking a little downtime especially after a long season, and just kind of decompressing and de-stressing, so to speak, after a long season, and reflecting like this, and just trying to find what the next fit is, what the next puzzle piece is for me and my family.
Yeah, that's why I wanted you on the show, because hearing that you're moving on, and I think it's great to people to see what you enjoyed being there for 24 years at Bowie. You have seen Bowie, Maryland from 1999, when people you're like, what's Bowie, Maryland? To now everybody goes, oh, that's the AA affiliate of the Orioles. But back then it was like, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bowie isn't like a destination for
No,
people to go to. It's not DC. It's not Annapolis. It's it's not you don't go to Bowie for the weekend and hang out. You pass through it, or you go to a game, or you pass through it on Annapolis, or pass through it to DC. So it's not a focal destination point. So hopefully over the years, the efforts that myself and those that worked with me, made it a fun spot to go. Enjoyed their time. I certainly enjoyed interacting with all the fans. I did. It's weird. That not weird, but fun when you get a family that comes up to you 15 years later and says, hey, do you remember this? And you do, and they introduce you to the kid who's now 19, and you met them when they were 3, and you gave a ball to and sat next to during a fireworks show because they were crying, and now they're 19 and in college, and you're like, man, I got old quick, or so those have come out. And and in the kind of the announcement of me not being there anymore, just unbelievable amount of support from past friends, employees, players, who told me that I'm such a big part of their memories and playing the game and stuff, which was entirely humbling. I'm still amazed by it, and have been trying to get back to everybody just to say thanks and share a few words. So it's it took a lot out of me over the years, but it was 100% enjoyable, and really enjoyed my time there. For the most part, there were ups and downs. Not gonna lie to you, there always are. But not everything goes your way. But I think more went our way than not.
Exactly. Well, Phil, it was great to get to know you for the years I've been down there. And I couldn't get down there all the time. I'm up here in Cockeysville, where once I was up in Bel Air. That's a long trip for me sometimes. Yep. Yeah, but it was great. Glad to get to know you, and good luck on whatever you got to do, and keep us informed what's going on. We'd love to get you back on and tell everybody where you're going.
Absolutely, would love to do that. Look forward to keeping in touch.
All right, Phil. Enjoy the rest of your week.
All righty, you too, guys.
I mean,
Thanks, Phil.
hey.
Bye-bye.
All right, that's Phil Rye, who is the former assistant GM of the Bowie Bay Sox here on the program. So coming up, folks, at 9 o'clock here on the program, we have this gentleman at 9:05 joining us, PBA Hall of Famer, Amleto Monacelli. A little flashback to the 80s here. Yeah, look at that style of, I think Adam probably has that style, probably.
Yep. Oh yeah. I mean,
yeah, the
he's
way
still going. I mean,
yeah, he's still going. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's good. Yeah.
Look at it. And then now it's like he's older. He's in his is he in his 60s now?
I think so. I think he's in his 60s, Chris. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's fascinating. This guy came out in 1982.
Yeah.
And he was a no name. The only thing was he was just a foreign bowler from the international bowling, came from Venezuela, and just made a name of himself in the state of in the professional bowler store. With the way he is weird. I want to ask him tonight on the phone. Does he still have the colorful shoes?
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool. So he'll be joining us at 9:05 to talk a little about that as well. So that's Amleto Monacelli, who I talked to on the phone this afternoon, and he should be ready to go and join us. We're still waiting for Coach Pat Skerry. I text Pat and he said he's all set to go. So hopefully he'll remember 7:45. Let's take a look at other stuff going on. Oh, today in music history, Bon Jovi had their number one album, Slippery Then Wet album. It featured two number one songs. You Got Love the Bad, and he gave Love a Bad Name and Living on a Prayer. So
I remember those two songs, Chris.
Yeah, but it's funny. It came out on the 25th of 1986, the same day as the Mets beat the Red Sox.
Yeah,
that night. But that's pretty. I just saw that. I'm like, wait a minute. I was like, that's very interesting. Yeah. Crazy stuff. So let's talk about over the weekend, Adam. College football. Syracuse lost to Clemson. And I think they got had down at Clemson, South Carolina.
Yeah, they did. It was like, I truly thought Syracuse was going to win. I mean, what Coach Ginny Boggess has done up there, and in Syracuse this year. I mean, that quarterback Garrett Schrader is incredible, and I mean, Syracuse was winning, and all of a sudden, Clemson came back and won. I mean, it's hard to win, and it's hard to win in Death Valley. I think that's like.
Well, here's the thing: you got to do this with these teams. You can't just sit back and go into the third quarter going, "Oh, we're up by 14 on them."
No, it's called
you got to put the.
It's called you got to put the pedal to the metal. I mean, you got to. You got to keep the momentum going. I mean, you got to. You can't just let Clemson come back and score. It's like, you are up on one of the top teams in the country, and it's like you let them come back and win. It's like, no, it's called put the pedal to the metal and finish the job that you're supposed to do.
All right. Well, they got a big home game this weekend against Notre Dame, Syracuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game. But according to Dan DeTora, the mayor of Syracuse, unofficial mayor, who had a birthday last week, so I wished him a happy birthday for all of us here. He said it's a sold out dome. The dome is sold out.
Oh, I believe it, Chris. I mean, when
and I think Syracuse got to come out, fighting, because they just got punched in the mouth by Clemson, and it wasn't pretty.
No, it wasn't. I mean,
and they kind of didn't, according to what I read, that Sean, the running back Taylor, who is from Owings Mills, Maryland, they just stopped running the football after a while.
Yeah.
Here's my question: why do these coaches do that? That's your money. That's your money maker right there. That's your bread and butter. Why are you going to stop running the football? You see that a lot in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like what are you doing? It's like,
I got no idea, Chris.
Yeah, so Syracuse.
I'm just a fan like you. It's like
No.
I wish I knew.
The other noon game is going to be on on Fox, and our good friend before on Fox, our good friend Rob Stone and the gang will be up at Penn State, State College for the big noon kickoff.
First time for them going to Penn State, Chris.
Yep.
It's called. We're gonna see if Penn State can live up all the hype. I mean, they got to play.
They're gonna do the best they can because Ohio State. I'm sorry, they haven't played anybody good. I'm sorry, Iowa.
No,
Yeah, Iowa State was okay, but they still ran up 56 points on the guy. So like, come on. Yeah. I feel like this game, and I'll be making the trip up here on Saturday. I feel like this game is going to be one of those shootouts.
Oh, I do too, Chris.
Yeah, it's going to be like it's going to be Clifford against the Ohio State quarterback, and they're going to be they're going to be firing back and forth. Like I want to say one guy might have 7 touchdowns by the end of the week, end of the
first
game.
One to, I mean, Chris, it's called. You could say first 1 to 50.
It's a Big 12 game on the Big Noon Network. Hey, Big 12, they don't have defense. They have just go home.
No, they don't have defense in the Big 12. Ask Oklahoma about that. Oklahoma don't.
Hit the mailbox.
No.
Go hit the mailbox. We have another noon game coming up on Saturday, something that we enjoy, we like. Florida State and Georgia Tech. Knowles need to get back on track. They're 4-3 on the season, and if they want to go to a bowl game, I heard early predictions, Adam. They are supposed to go to the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
I saw that
against
Charlotte
against Minnesota.
Yeah, and Chris, you know what happens in a couple weeks, right? Florida State goes to Hard Rock Stadium in prime time against Miami.
I saw that prime time 7:30, and Miami's not Miami anymore.
I mean, maybe Florida State has a shot to knock off Miami in Miami.
But here's the thing: Miami comes to play every year against Florida State. It's no matter what if their record is, and same thing with Florida State, they come to play.
Yeah,
and they don't care if they're 4-7 or 7-4. It's going to be what Keith Jackson used to say is a big slobber knocker. Yeah.
Yep. It's called when Florida State and Miami get together, Chris. You know that it's called you throw the records out the window, and it's like, we all know about the past, wide right, and then wide left, and it's like, when these two teams get together, Florida State and Miami, it is a feud. I mean, friend against friend, family member against family member, and it's like,
Well, we'll talk Florida State, Miami next week because we're going to do a little bit of that preview. Because last year, if you were part of the show, I had a roundtable discussion with a couple of former Canes and former Seminoles to talk about the rivalry, because I think people need to know about how this rivalry, the rivalry with Miami and Florida State, was who won that game went to the Orange Bowl. Who lost the game? You went to the CarQuest Bowl. Yeah. That was basically what it is. It was like, and it's also for state bragging rights too, because we got to take on Florida at the end of the year, and we always, and I look at it from me being a Seminole fan, and you're a Seminole fan too. The Florida Cup is still better than winning. Big deal. If we don't go to a bowl game, if we just beat Florida State, Florida, and Miami.
Good enough for me. I mean,
we'll be 2-8, but if that's the 2 wins we have, it's still a good season.
Yeah. And actually, Chris, it's called where I live here in North Carolina, my alma mater, Tuscola High School, they're going to Hendersonville to play West Henderson. And you remember a quarterback named Jonathan Crompton?
I think I heard the name before.
He played at Tuscola High School for 2 years, and then he played his college football at Tennessee. So it's like Jonathan Crompton is the coach at West Henderson High School. So it's like we all remember over here what Jonathan Crompton did. And so it's like it's for the conference. It's for the conference championship. So it's going to be a huge game here in the mountains of North Carolina.
Yeah, that's cool. Nice. So, I was looking at the schedule next week for big games on TV. CBS has a game between Air Force and Army down at Jerry World.
Yeah.
11:30 in the morning. So that's a big game. See what else we got. We got number 1 Georgia taking on Tennessee next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big
You
one.
think about, I mean,
Speaking of Georgia, they got to get through the Gators. You know, anybody in that big cocktail party up there in Jacksonville. Yeah, that's been a decent game every year. And here's the sad thing: is Kirby Smart wants to get rid of it.
I heard it's like,
Yeah,
why?
he's like, we should play on the campus, and I'm like, yeah, well, you can play on the campus. You can kiss my butt on that one.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I mean, it's like,
Yeah. How
it's-
dare you?
I
How
mean,
dare you change the rivalry? It's a neutral site game every year, and
that's right.
the city of Jacksonville enjoy it. And with all the stuff going on in Florida with the hurricane, everybody needs something to pick me up.
Yes. Yep.
You're gonna tell people like we want to go back to Athens.
No, I mean, you know, that game's gonna be, you know, fans split down the middle, 50-50, half for Florida, half for Georgia. I mean, never fails.
And then also next week, if we look at it, Clemson rolls into Notre Dame.
Oh, that could is called Notre Dame could give Clemson a time or two up there. I think it's in prime time, Chris.
Yeah, 7:30 on
Clemson's
on
gonna have to
/Peacock. If you don't have, I think everybody has NBC, folks. I don't
Oh,
know why
yeah.
you put money on Peacock.
Yeah.
Like, come on, give me a break. So, I guess Pat Skerry forgot to join us tonight, but we'll get him on during the season. It's not a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know he's probably having some stuff going on. It is October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so that's why you see the our bottom line in pink for the last time here in October, because of next show will be November 1st, and that'll be Salute to the Military. So,
yes.
So we'll get ourselves in that. So it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Campaign to raise awareness about the impact of breast cancer. If you know somebody or you want to get more information, go to the I don't know. Somebody just interrupted me on that one. I was in the groove. So you can go to a website, www.nationalbreastcancer.org/breastcancer/awareness/month, and you can get more information. You can get information anytime on that website, folks. And it doesn't have to be October. It could be November, December. You could do whenever you need to. This website's always up and running. So that's pretty good as well. Next week, we got to make a change in the schedule next week. Due to the college football playoff, we will be on at 8 o'clock next week, 8 to 9, next Tuesday night, because we're not going to go up against ESPN, and that's like suicide right there. Yeah. But speaking of that, we will have the Annapolis FC Blue FC, the soccer GM of the new team down in Annapolis, joining us next week. Let me bring him.
Nice.
Yeah. So so we're let me bring it up here if I can get the soccer thing. Soccer FC. Soccer Club? Is that who it is? Over here. Nope, that's not it. Sure. Hold on. Blue FC. There it is. Let me bring up his name for you. It's part of the ownership. I guess that's the other guy. Front office here. Fred Mathers will be joining us, the general manager of the. Let me put that out there for folks right now. The general manager of the Annapolis Blue FC will be joining us next Tuesday night. Tuesday night at 8:05. Oh, that'll be good. That'll be the first one on the air next Tuesday. So hopefully folks will be joining as well. So let's bring in this gentleman. He's been a friend of mine for years. We go way back when I was a little kid at college looking to get somebody on my little program. But it's not little anymore. It's pretty big. And he, a good friend of mine who worked at Fox 45 with Brett Harris here in Baltimore, and he's been doing a lot of things. And we're going to talk a little Ravens football because he's been working with Ravens radio on WBAL radio here in Baltimore. I was bringing in Brett Harris, our good friend. Hey, Brett, how you doing?
Good. How you doing, Chris?
Thanks for coming on. I can't believe I still had your cell phone number in my phone. And the other night I was looking for people to come on. I was like, got to get somebody on. Let me go on the archives. So, and by the way, my mom said hi because I talked to her the other day.
Good.
Yeah, she told me to tell you to say hi. Yeah. So they're in Vegas right now. So having a good time out there. So what's new? I see you doing a lot of cool stuff with your stuff. Yeah, you're working with the Ravens during this season, and then you're also a golf coach. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been really busy. The Ravens season has been a lot of fun, but I think for Ravens fans, it's been exhausting and frustrating at the same time. So each and every week when we do the pregame show, I feel like it's an entirely new season that we're talking about. The way that it's been such a roller coaster of a ride. So I've enjoyed that a lot at WBAL and also a golf coach at Bel Air High School. We're right now in the state championships. We played on Monday, and one of my golfers made the cut, so he's going to play on Wednesday in the final round. So we've had a lot of success in the 2 years I've been there. I've had great kids. It's been a really fun program to be a part of, and to be able to see the kids get to the level of state championships. It's been pretty fun.
Yeah, well, I'm a Bobcat, so good job.
There you go. I like to see the alumni involved. So
I love it. Yeah, it's like when I saw that, I'm like, hey, he's in my school. But my school was gone. That's a brand new one. Like the old one.
Very nice.
The old one is full of asbestos, so I got rid of it. Let's talk about this Ravens game on Thursday night. Going down to Tampa, playing a guy they used to play against a lot in New England named Tom Brady, who's basically struggling the same way. So what do you see in this game for the Ravens? They come off a tough win at home, and once again they played conservative in the third and fourth quarter. They should have knocked them out.
Yeah, it's been the story of the season. Is the team that we see in the first half of the Ravens is not the same team that we have seen, especially in the fourth quarter. And again, even in a win against the Browns, which is always a tough divisional opponent, they make a mistake. Justice Hill's fumble. And obviously Ravens fans on the edge of their seats having to come up with a play at the end of that game, in a game that you felt like they had in control. But look, you can look at their 3 losses. They all had double-digit leads in those games. They all felt like they were in control, and each one of them they ended up losing. So it's been a tough season. This is a short turnaround to have to go down to Tampa. Your road team on a Thursday night is never easy. Somehow the Ravens are going into this game as a 1.5 favorite, which I think maybe the money line will change a little going into game time. Mm-hmm. But you're facing a very desperate Tampa Bay team. Tom Brady and the Bucs at 3-4. A lot of people thought they were again a favorite in the NFC, and they have struggled. The one thing I look at in this game, though, Chris, is the last 2 weeks the Ravens have prepared for really good running teams. Good running backs, right? Saquon Barkley and Nick Chubb. This week it's going to change a little bit because the Bucs can't run the football. They're dead last in the NFL running the football. Tom Brady can still throw it. I'm not sure about the distractions and all that kind of stuff. I'm not down there. But what I do know is, Brady has always gotten up against the Ravens. Short week. It's hard to bet against Brady and the Bucs, even at 3-4. This is going to be a tough game for the Ravens as a road team on a Thursday night.
Yeah, and I think it's really hard for a road team because this is actually Tuesday, and this is actually technically your Friday. And you played Sunday, 1:00, got done at 4. You had 2 hours to digest the win over the Browns, and then you had to be probably back in the castle Sunday night getting ready for Tampa Bay. And I think these games, I think they should have like a bye week before you do a Thursday nighter, so you get the rest. I think that's smart.
On the back end, though, Chris, you get that sort of mini bye coming out of it, right? Because you play Thursday, you're off Sunday. The Ravens actually don't play again until Monday night following. So they get a little bit of a break. They play that game, then they get their bye. Mm-hmm. So when you think about a team like the Ravens, who have been kind of beat up, right? And they're hoping that they start getting some of their players back. But this week on Tuesday, they were without Mark Andrews. They were without Roddy Stanley, without Rashad Bateman at practice. All those are questionable going into Thursday. You hope they all play. But at the same time, it's a fairly beat-up team. And these bye weeks, a mini bye coming out of this Bucs game and then the bye after New Orleans, they can be really beneficial. And I think they will be for the Ravens. The big thing, though, is going into Thursday, as you mentioned, Chris, in a short week, you really can't change your game plan a whole lot. You're going to kind of get what you've seen this year, right? You may be able to add a wrinkle or two, but you can't just start from scratch, put in a whole new game plan, and then have 4 or 5 days to get it ready. You have Monday night, it's a walkthrough. Tuesday's their only practice. And for the Ravens on Wednesday, they're on a plane heading down to Florida.
Exactly. Hey, Adam, you got a question?
Yeah, I saw, Brent, you are the voice of the Capital City Go-Go, which is I believe is a member of the NBA G League. So tell us about some of the prospects on the Capital City Go-Go in the NBA G League.
Yeah, I mean, it's great because the G League, as you guys know, is the minor leagues of the NBA. And 28 of the 30 teams have a team in the G League that they're affiliated with. So one of the things that's really cool is you have two-way players that will move between the Washington Wizards and the Capital City Go-Go. And, of course, the Go-Go play right in D.C. at the Entertainment and Sports Complex. So I think for Wizards fans, it's a great way to get to know some players that they could be seeing on their roster. And two in particular are there now. I know Isaiah Todd is there. He's a young talent that they have a lot of aspirations for, could do big things, but he's a two-way player. So there's a good chance he'll be with the Go-Go for a little bit. They're in their training camp right now because what they do is they wait for the NBA season to start. They wait for all the cuts to be made. They just had their draft over the weekend, and now they go into training camp. So we should know by the end of the week what the team looks like. The following week we have practice, and then on November 5th is our first game in D.C. So looking forward to it. 2 games on that opening weekend on the 5th and the 6th there at the Sports and Entertainment Complex. So it should be a lot of fun. The best thing for me about being a part of this is that you're a part of a team. And I've done a lot of play-by-play, but you do different sports and different teams, different leagues on a weekly basis. To be a part of a team and be the voice of that team for a whole season, I think should be really cool to get to know the team, the coaches, the GM, the entire organization, and know that it's associated with the Washington Wizards. We have so many Wizards fans in this area. So it's going to be a really cool experience. Can't wait.
Yeah. I do have to ask you, Professor. Yeah, you're teaching some classes at Towson. So have you failed anybody yet?
I have not. I've had some good kids and some really good classes. I teach sports communication, which is, I should know something about the subject to be able to teach it. It's interesting being on that side of it. I'll tell you a quick story. When I was at Towson as a student, my professor was Keith Mills.
Oh, wow.
And Keith gave me a lot of great advice back then, really helped me in jumpstarting my career. He's been a good friend for a couple of decades now. And now I do the pregame show on BAL with Keith. I think it's pretty cool. It's come full circle. And at the same time, it's come full circle in teaching at Towson. And I know Keith's given me a lot of great advice. And he did a great job with it. I learned so much in that class, and I'm just trying to pass a little bit of knowledge on to some of the college kids now.
That's cool. Yeah, I learned all this stuff at Harvard Community College. I remember the first time I contacted you, and you're like, yeah I could go on. That'd be cool. And then I was thinking about this great idea. Let's have Brent Harris on every week. And you're like, you got to talk to my agent. Oh, come on, really? I'm like, you're like, yeah. And then like one day I saw you at my church. And I'm like, well.
Yeah, like neighbors, right? Harford County peeps, and it's always good to be able to do the show and to catch up with you guys. And it is interesting too that there's so many different ties. Like I was talking about with Keith at Towson, I've seen you at church and up here at Harford County. It's pretty neat because I'm a Baltimorean. I was born and bred here, so to be here covering sports has been a thrill.
And you have 2 wonderful daughters that my mom talks about a lot. Sometimes I saw them the other day. I'm like, okay.
And they're both at Beller High School. So
That's cool.
following in your footsteps.
Yeah.
Chris. Yeah.
And you see Dad every afternoon. You're like, oh God, Dad. Yeah.
Well, my youngest daughter's on the golf team, so she can't get away from me, right? So it's a little different. The dad-daughter relationship when you're on the course is a little bit different. I got to be just as tough on hers as the rest of the players.
Well, one last question to ask you. With this game on Thursday night, where can people watch it? I found out it's on ABC2 if you don't have Prime Video, and I think that's a smart thing to do because I was trying to find out where to get the Commander game a couple weeks ago, and I couldn't even find it on. I had Prime Video here at my house, but I was like, what if you can't afford it?
Well, the NFL now is going to a lot of the streaming services. Amazon Prime to me is just the first step in it. I think we're going to see either Apple or one of the other streaming services pick up a lot more games. They're going away from the direct TV where you paid one price for the whole package. But anytime you're in a local market, when your team's playing, it's still written into the contract. They've got to find an over-the-air local affiliate to be able to air the game. So it'll be on Channel 2 this week on WMAR. Some weeks it's on BAL if they're on a cable channel or NFL Network. So the way the games have kind of gone right in the NFL with the streaming, at least locally, you can still tune in and watch the game.
That's awesome. Well, Brent, keep up the good work, and God bless. Hopefully, that guy will get to the state championship for golf. And when's that? When's the final?
Finals on Wednesday morning, 9 a.m.
Oh.
And it's in College Park at the University of Maryland Golf Course. And I'm excited. Matt Young is the young man who made the cut, and he's going back tomorrow. It'll be Wednesday, and we'll see how he does.
Would they play all 18, or did they do like the
play another 18? Yep, two
wow.
rounds. So Monday was the first round, and he was able to make the cut and get into the second round, and it'll all wrap up tomorrow. Be pretty cool.
All right. Well, I'll say a prayer tonight when I go to sleep, and hope you guys bring one home to Bel Air. So
thank you. I apprate it, guys.
All right, Brent. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Have a great night. See you.
All right. See you later. Bye. That's our good friend Brent Harris from WBA, my good friend, who like he was talking about Keith Mills, who was his mentor. When I started doing my shows at Hartford Community College, I was like, oh, I'm looking for guests to come on the show, and I'm like, oh, Brent Harris, he's a local guy. Oh, okay, he's on Fox 45, and I was like, okay, reach out, and I told him the story. Then he goes, and I had this brilliant, some days I have ideas that I pop up at like 2:00 in the morning when I'm sleeping, or I get up to go to the bathroom, and all of a sudden the squirrel wakes up and goes, what do you want to do today? But that's what's going on. So anyway, so that's Brent Harris, our good friend from WBAL, and he is the play-by-play voice of the Capital City Go-Go's. So we'll keep an eye on that one because I'll be hopefully trying to cover some Wizard games this year. So
nice. All right, Chris.
Yeah,
cool,
hopefully I can pull it off. Because the Wizards are looking to. Because I sent an email to the Wizards the other day, and the guy goes, "What game would you like to cover, sir?" I go, "Kevin Durant."
Yeah.
And the guy goes, "We can make that happen." I was like, "Excuse me?" I'm like,
Really?
Yeah. So let's bring in Mount St. Mary. The Mount last year, they had a good season. They finished. They got to the conference final. They lost to. I forgot who they lost to in the conference final, but they still had a great season after the year after COVID and all that stuff. So it's bringing Dan Engelston, our good friend, who's the coach there at the Mount. Hi, Dan. How you doing?
Chris, Adam, what's up, man? How you guys doing?
Great. We love having you on.
Not bad.
I love being on with you guys, man. You're fun. That was a good interview. I got to sit in the background and listen, and that was a great interview with Brett. That was interesting stuff.
It's funny. He goes to my church, and one day I walked in and I go, "Brent Harris?" I'm like, what? I'm like, what did I have for breakfast? Like trying to figure out what's going on. And he goes, "No, I live around the corner." I'm like,
"Oh, your neighbors, nice."
Okay. That's cool. And my mom talks about his daughters all the time. Like, oh, they sing really good and quiet. I'm like, okay, Mom, calm it down. Seriously. Let me tell you a story one time. There's a guy named Danny Wiseman, the bowler. And my parents found out that Danny Wiseman was on the same cruise that they were. I had to do damage control when they got home because I had to call Danny. Go, Danny, I'm so sorry. about my parents. I really am to get my. And then Danny goes, what is wrong with your mother? I was like, you know what my mother is? She doesn't get out much. No offense, Mom. I know you're in Vegas. You're not watching this, but anyway. But I said she doesn't get out much, and she's one of those people like are pretty happy that your son's doing something cool. Because I remember she told me I wrote a note to Danny, and I'm like, oh no, I'm like, good God, no.
Oh man.
Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that guy's not coming on anytime soon.
Did you ever get him on?
Yeah, he came back on. He's a good friend of mine of the program. But I tried, and I had to go to the bowling alley and talk to him about it. I'm like, Mom, next time just walk away. Like just say hi. I'm Chris's mom, and that's it. That's all I need to do. Yeah, it's like I swear I'm in a TV show some days. So anyway, talk about your guys. I was looking at your schedule. You go out west this year. You're going to play the Trojans on a Friday night. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, we got a big one coming up in less than 2 weeks. Or I guess 2 weeks from yesterday, we got West Virginia at West Virginia. Always a fun place to play. And, Coach Huggins just got inducted to the Hall of Fame and get a chance to challenge us against, a team that's just going to be so physical and tough. And then we got a couple local games. We'll be out at Coppin State, and then we got a home game versus McDaniel. And then we, like you just said, we go out west, and, we're going to be there for a week. I really like our schedule. It's a good balance of some tough, mid-major teams and a couple high major games, but, a lot of really good local teams as well. And then, for us transitioning into a new conference, we're in the MAC now, so we got to open up against St. Peter's. That's our first game in the MAC is against the Elite Eight team from last year, and brand new team and new coach who was in our previous league, the NEC. And, I know you're familiar a little bit with Mount St. Mary's basketball, but Robert Morris has been a big rival, and we got them on the schedule. And so our fan base is really excited about that. And so it's here, man. I was telling our guys that today, you go through the summer, it's a long preseason, then all of a sudden, boom, here we are. And we got a scrimmage Saturday and we got a game Monday, and then we're in the thick of it. And buckle up.
Yeah, St. Peter's is actually making another trip here. They're playing Maryland this year. I think it's like a couple of days after Christmas. So maybe we could get. Maybe you should go down there and see what's going on.
Yeah, I think we get them before that. I think we actually played them on the 4th of December this year.
That's cool.
We can come back on and give you the scout.
Okay, that works. Adam, you got a question for Dan?
Yeah. Like Chris said, I was looking at your schedule, and you guys called on the West Coast. You play at USC November 18th, then you go to Cal Poly, then you go to Pacific, and then you go to play at Navy 2 days after my birthday. So tell us about this West Coast trip. Starting with USC and then going, you have a Pac-12 team, you're playing USC, a team from the Big West Conference in Cal Poly, and then a team from the West Coast Conference in Pacific.
Yeah, we've part of the model at Mount St. Mary's is that we have to bring in some money for our budget. So we're going to always play, whether it be an MTE, which is a multi-team event, and then the USC game was actually separate. So it's a money game, so they pay us to come play. And but for us, on top of it, not only do you get to play, top 25 team in USC and go out to Pacific and Cal Poly, which should be two really competitive games for us. We're also get that chance to kind of come together as a team, and we'll have our director of basketball operations as well as our senior women administrator who's going to look after all of our academics because our guys are going to have to take exams. It's during school time, so we're going to have to make sure that we stay on top of the books there as well. But those trips are really good. It's just you and the team, and you come together and you hopefully build off of it and learn from it, and then come back, like you said, and play Navy right before Thanksgiving. And, and then it doesn't stop. You just keep moving and grinding through the season. But it should be 3 really good games, get out to the West Coast, hopefully go to the beach for 5 minutes and, have fun and compete the rest of the time.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. You got, I was looking at your schedule. You got a lot of local games. You got American. You got Lower the Greyhounds. On a Saturday night up there. From Emmitsburg from here is only 2 hours, folks. So if you're looking for a place to watch college football,
way closer than that.
yeah. Well, I'm in Cockeysville, so technically,
Probably an hour and 10 tops.
well, if you don't speed.
Well, you don't get caught in traffic. We'll get you there sooner.
We don't pay for tickets here on the program.
Well, you're always covered with me.
I have a quick story for you, Dan, Coach, because I had Kyle Troop on a couple of years ago, like a year ago, and he was driving his car, the bowler. He was driving his car. I'm like, Kyle, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm talking to you while I'm driving. I was like, okay, first of all, I can't pay for your ticket if you get pulled over. Okay, and secondly, that is dangerous as anything because I don't want you to like yell at something and you slam on your brakes and all of a sudden I see the camera go like that. Yeah. So,
it's a cool place to come watch a game. We get a couple thousand every game. It's we are the only Division I university within a 45-mile radius. So we do kind of draw from Frederick, Gettysburg, and Littlestown, Pennsylvania, and Waynesboro. So it's a cool spot. And I think with the transition to the MAC and with Rick Pitino coming in the gym and St. Peter's coming in our gym, it really has our base excited. So we'd love to get some new fans. Come and check us out.
Yeah, when's Rick coming? Because I would like to meet him because he's like one of those coaches that like I grew up watching, and I'm like that'd be cool to sit there and listen to him at a press conference.
I think it's actually our last. I think it's our
February 24th. Okay,
yeah, our last home game. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll make sure I'm there on the 24th because this would be cool to sit there and just listen to him because he has a lot of things to talk about. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Well, Coach, let me let you go because we got Coach Pat Skerry next to us because he wants to come on as well. So thanks for coming on.
Well, tell Pat I say hello. He's a good man, doing a great job at Towson. I'm sure he's
doing a great job, and you're doing a great job out there in Emmitsburg. And keep it up the good work. And we'll talk to you probably middle of the before Thanksgiving or Christmas. See how everything's going.
Sounds good. Appreciate you having me on. See you guys.
All right, Coach. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Tim. All right, let's bring in our good friend Pat, Coach Pat Skerry, who a good friend of ours here on the program. Hey, Coach Pat, how you doing?
Great to see you guys. Appreciate you having me on, man.
Yes. Thank you. We had a great time following you last year when you got to the NIT against Wake Forest. I wish it was a little better outcome, but we were pulling and like this would be cool. They keep rolling. And I could go up to New York, and then like, okay, I guess that's over with.
Yeah, that's a. If it doesn't end in a win, it ends in a loss, right?
Exactly. So talk about the season coming up. You open up on November 7th at home against Albany. But I was looking at your schedule. You got Clemson on the schedule this year. That's a good school in the ACC that just like you did last year against Pittsburgh.
Well, yeah. Listen, I was disappointed. I almost called you from the car that you wouldn't cover any tickets I got. But I was happy to hear that you were concerned for my safety.
Yes. We
have a tough schedule like always. We schedule aggressively, and it provides us one with opportunities in the non-conference, and then two, it gets us ready for the league play. So starts with Albany right away on the 7th home game. We don't have a lot of non-conference home games because. We be honest, we just couldn't get anyone to play, and we're really not big into playing non-Division I teams, So we decided to just, like I said, get as many difficult games as we could get, and you can see that's reflected in a lot of teams will play. But it'll help us get us ready for the for the CAA.
Yeah. Adam wants to talk about this exhibition game you have this coming Saturday up in Philadelphia.
Yeah, Coach, because I hear it's for the Kennedy Center and it benefits autism and actually I'm autistic, so tell us about this charity exhibition game between you guys and St. Joseph's on Saturday and how can fans donate to this wonderful, wonderful cause?
Well, I appreciate you mentioning that, and I appreciate what you guys are doing to help promote and bring awareness to autism, and I'm especially proud of the job you're doing here.
Thank you, sir.
On the show. So We are playing St. Joe's in an exhibition game. It's open to the public, and people can make donations to benefit their Kinney Center for Autism, which is right on their campus. Really, St. Joe's and Billy Lang and their athletic department, Rob Sullivan in particular, they really did a great job of putting the whole thing together. We're gonna have a little clinic before the game, and then go over and play against obviously a very talented, well coached St. Joe's team. So it'll be good. Our guys get to put on the uniform. We get to travel up there, and bring some awareness to something that's really important.
That's cool. Maybe, Coach, you could probably get one of your the jerseys you guys wear. You do a autism awareness game during the season, and you have that jersey that you bring out all the time, the blue, and maybe you could find one for them if you have one.
Yeah,
you know what?
I mean, I could give you my mailing address. I mean, it'd be
If
kind
you
of
have
cool.
one, yeah, just laying around.
You know what? You hit me. You send me an email with your address.
I sure will. I sure will.
I don't know if I'll have a uniform shirt because we're gonna play in them this year, but
Sure.
I've got something that I'll dig up for you. All right.
Thanks.
Cool.
Thanks, Coach.
And then,
I appreciate that.
So just so we're clear, the way this works, I'm going to take care of you with the shirt, and then Chris going to take care of that. Chris going to take care of that speeding ticket I got when I called in the car. You know.
I'll give you the credit card number and care of. Oh boy. So what have you been doing in the off season? I know after last year, tough way to end the season. You guys were doing so good going into the CAA tournament, and then lost to the Delaware, and then you went to the NITs and played a really tough Wake Forest squad. What did you do during the summer to just flush that out of your memory?
Well, I did some hiking, some surfing. No, of course. Come on. You know me. We dug in, man. We've been working all summer. We've been recruiting. We had 10 weeks with our guys on campus. We've had a full fall. Well, we're getting ready, man. We got a great group back. They're gentlemen. They're talented. They're competitive. They're going to be good representatives of our program and our university. And we're going to try to have a great year again. That's the deal. That's the goal, and that's what we're committed to trying to make happen.
Yeah, and you guys, you've been turning this program around a lot since the first time I met you, like years ago, and it was like you basically had a tough season, and you still got the hair there. That's a good thing because maybe sometimes with that tough season, you'd be like, I just want to lose my hair.
It's getting a little grayer. It's getting a little grayer,
Yeah. So are you happy where the program is right now in your mind? Because I know coaches look back before the season starts and go, okay, we're good where we are, but we want to be better. Is there a way that you reflect on last year and a little bit and go, if we played a little bit better here, we could have been here. Can we? What do you?
All the time. You're always trying to figure out how to do this thing better. That's the quest. That's what it's all about. You want the perfect game. You want the perfect practice. You want the perfect season. That's never going to happen. That's why you do it. I'm incredibly proud of our players and our staff for the way they bounced back out of pandemic to have the largest turnaround in the country, to go from 4 wins to 25 Division I wins was certainly I'm extremely proud and appreciative of. But we also know you can't live on memories, and we're going to try to do it again.
Yeah, sure. Hey, Adam, you had a question?
Yeah, I saw that you guys are ranked preseason number 1 in the CAA poll, and right behind you is a very good Drexel team. You have College of Charleston this year. So tell us what's it going to take to get you guys back into the NIT or hopefully the NCAA tournament?
Well, look at we play in the CAA, which is arguably the best, if not one of the top 2 or 3 true mid-major conferences in America. Our league finished 12th last year out of 32 conferences. And there are a lot of good teams. You named a couple of them. In addition, we know Northeastern and Wilmington and Delaware and Hofstra, and you can go on and on. So, right now I'm rooting for all those teams. I want to see all those teams play great because we have a great conference. And really we're focused on ourselves and how do we get better. And, like I told you, we have very challenging opportunities in the non-conference to make some statements, but also, learn about ourselves. So that's the whole focus right now becomes on, the non-conference, then you get ready for conference play and then the postseason.
That's true. Well, Coach Pat, thanks for coming on tonight. And before I let you go, that autism game is actually February 18th because you have a big game at home against North Carolina A&T. So anybody who wants to, you guys have a cool program before the game. You have everything all mapped out because you have a son, right, who's autistic.
Yes, sir. My son Owen. That's right.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. And this is a cool thing, and everybody else does it too. Because if you see different programs, they do it as well too. Other schools. I'm like, this is cool. Everybody's doing everything now to help out people. That's awesome. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you guys mentioning that, and once again, I'm proud of you, and keep up the great work. Okay.
I will. I'll keep it, and I'll send you that. I'll pay your ticket, and I'll send you the bill.
Fair enough.
All right, Coach. I'll see you soon. Okay.
All right, take care, guys.
See you later.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, see you. Bye. That's Coach Pat Skerry. Yeah, I'll send you his email.
Sure. Thanks, Chris. It's called. Yeah. I mean, I would love to get
he's a cool guy. Yeah, he's been
nice.
Years,
it's called.
So folks, thanks for joining us here. This is the Sports Talk with Chris Heidel here on a 25th of October, 2022. And let's bring in Melvin Pearsall, who got to go old school Florida State football back in the day when Florida State was rolling right through the ACC like Clemson's doing right now. The ACC was Florida State. Florida State just ran right through the ACC until one day some team from Virginia beat us on a Thursday night, and I'm like,
yeah.
And then that's the downfall started. If we didn't lose to Virginia there, we could just keep rolling, and maybe we will end up in the Big 12. But I'm just kidding. Yeah, let's bring in Melvin. Hi, Melvin. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Thank you so much. Yeah,
hey, y'all striking up some old feelings, man. Hey.
Yeah, I was doing some research on you. You only lost 4 games in your whole career at Florida State, and the team right now has almost 4 losses. And I'm like, what's wrong with this pitcher? That's what I look at it some days. I was like, but let's talk about that. Those years. I know I sent you the questions last night. One of the questions was like, you played Florida every year. Every year you play Florida at the end of the year. It could be, the last game of the year, and these games were smash mouth. People didn't like each other. One year, I think, were you there when they stumped on the logo and it was a big fight? And those were the days. Now it's like, they don't even do it. I think Florida tried that last year, and it didn't really work out real well. I'm like, okay, that's 1990.
This is I understand, there's a kind of hate thing, rivalry. But, all those things, it's all in fun and games. Nobody want to really hurt anybody, but we do want to beat you. And that's just the way it is. They want to beat us just as bad as we want to beat them. But, for the most part, it's a fun game. I mean, the energy is high. The people, the fans are just there. It's a different game between them and Miami. Those 2 rivalries, man, they were amazing. I was grateful to play in them.
Yeah. Yeah, in Florida and Miami's coming up next week, and there's Miami. That Miami rivalry has been like it's been down for years. But back when I was a kid, 1994 through 97, it was like winner goes to the Orange Bowl,
correct.
Loser goes to. Back then they didn't have Duke's Mayo. They had the Parquest Bowl or one of those bowl games. But what was it like playing against Miami? Because Miami had that swagger, and they
And the crazy thing about it was kind of like, because I played against Warren Sapp in high school in basketball. Okay. And I played against Ray Lewis in football, and we beat them. We dominated them, actually. We beat them like 35-3, and the only way they scored was off of like a 50-something yard field goal. So we totally dominated them. So it was kind of, a rivalry even in that, rivalry on top of a rivalry, if that's a thing. But, playing those games, you knew that those guys you were playing against, that a lot of those guys would be in the NFL and they'd be playing at the next level. And that's what made it so, made it awesome, because you had so many guys that you was like, man, if I'm playing well against these guys, I can make it there, because there was so many guys that would make it to the next level. And it was a very exciting time, to be playing for Florida State. We had, Coach Bowden. You just had the trick plays. You just spontaneity, just things. It was just crazy. Always not knowing what was going to happen, but just going out there to play the game and have fun.
Yeah, I found you got a touchdown from Danny Cannell. Yeah,
Yes.
I think it's against Miami. So let's look at it here. Yeah.
No, okay.
Roll it out, or no, it's against the Gators. I'm sorry, the Gators. Sorry.
Yeah, I was about to say that was the Gators.
Busby. Yeah,
that was bad.
Yeah, Busby was one of those quarterbacks that you knew about, but it was not one of those people like was a household name. Yeah, like Christian Ponder, Charlie Ward, Chris Winky, Jameis, famous Jameis, those are household names, and these quarterbacks, and Chris Ricks, who's a nice guy who I talked to a couple times on the phone. Those are names that we but just playing against, you had Busby, who was one of those quarterbacks who's like, now he's what, a salesman or something?
Yeah.
What does he do?
I think so.
What does he do?
I honestly don't know. That was, even while we were in school, he didn't talk a whole bunch. He was kind of a really laid back guy. And that was probably why he didn't get all the hype. Even coming out of high school, he was really, really good. I thought he would probably come in and start a little earlier, but he had that 1 year, but he played well. That he was a really good player. I actually like that because, we both came in at the same time. So, I was kind of pulling for him to play a little bit more, of course, because usually the second string guy usually look for the tight end, somebody that's reliable, where the other guys want those guys like E.G. Green and Andre Cooper and Peter Ward, they want the deep ball. But, a lot of times I felt like they could have hit me coming right down the middle and they would have got the deep ball, maybe even a score or two, But it was fun. It was fun, man.
That's cool. Hey, Adam, you got a question?
Yeah, the reason why I became a Florida State fan, Melvin, was because of Bobby Bowden.
Yes.
I mean, I remember, you played on some incredible teams. You had men like Peter Warwick was one of your wide receivers, and E.G. Green and Warwick.
Oh yeah,
done. And I mean, what was it like? What was it like to play in front of a crazy atmosphere like Doak Campbell Stadium on a Saturday afternoon against someone like North Carolina or NC State or even your arch rival Florida or Miami? I mean, I bet you it was hard to even think during those games.
Honestly, tell you the truth, we played at home. Of course, it's always more relaxing just because of the fact you got the home base. I kind of like playing in Gainesville because of the fact that it took more focus, if that makes sense. You playing in those games, everybody, it was like you had to be a one unit. You couldn't be, on here spaced out here and there. You had to be one unit. And it made us focus more, because we was more together. And you had those seniors, those older upperclassmen that really keep you focused the whole time. And I tell you, man, and Florida was to me, it was one of the most craziest places to play because of the fact that it was, kind of straight up and the noise just kind of bounced off each other, man. And I tell you, it was just, you couldn't hear yourself think. And that's what made it so fun, playing against them. I remember when, I think it was 93, 94 season, when we played them at home and we came back from 31, I think it was 31, 3, we was getting killed at home. And we ended up coming back and tying it up. It was like, man, that game that was probably one of my most favorite games, even though I didn't play much in it. But the one I played in, of course, was to top it off with the last one you saw a touchdown on, where I ended up breaking the record for most tight ends for, most tight ends most touchdowns by tight end at Florida State. So that, of course, that has a little more sentimental value more than anything. But, it was amazing playing there, playing against those guys.
Yeah, and Melvin and Bobby Bowden didn't really use a lot of the tight end over the years. It was more shotgun, or Charlie Ward's in the shotgun, and they don't use. And I feel like with these coaches coming in replacing legends, I think they need to stick to what the game plan is, because Florida State is shotgun. You have Charlie Ward in the shotgun, work done next to him, and then you throw those little dink passes out to the side and. Sometimes you get a deep ball downfield to work to you or something like that. They don't. I feel like some of these coaches are trying to go, okay, I'm a new coach at Florida State, and I'm going to show them out my offense. Just stick to the game plan. Bobby Bowden has a game plan that it was working. And I think Jimbo tried to keep the game plan going.
Yeah, he did. He was the closest.
Yeah, but I think now with all these different coaches, no offense to Mike Norville, I'm going to see him in November 12th up at Syracuse in the Dome, and that'll be fun to see in the Dome up there.
Yeah.
But but Syracuse is very good right now.
Yes,
So
they are. Man, they've been pretty good these last couple of years, man. I'm just like, wow, never thought that, but things have changed.
Crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So before I let you go, what have you been doing lately? After you went to college, you went to Florida State, you played 4 years. Did you get drafted by the NFL? Did you get a chance to take?
I ended up being a free agent. So I ended up playing 3 years. I decided to quit after the third year. It was so much like going with my kids because I had an opportunity to go to about 5 different teams after the draft. And so I ended up choosing the Colts, and that's when Peyton Manning ended up coming. Well, actually, it was Edgerrin James, and then Peyton Manning came in. So I was kind of with them for like 2 years. Then I ended up going to Tampa and played there for a year, and that's when of course, that was like Florida. It was almost like Florida University. All the Florida guys. You played it. Warren Sapp was there, Derek Brooks, Ward Dunn. Just I mean, what is his name? Jason Odom, he was there. Riedel Anthony. It was just like with Jacquez Green. Actually Chevy Smith. He was. It was like all the dudes that I played with or played against was on the team. So it was kind of like a reunion. That was fun. And so that's why I'm in Kansas City now, because Kansas City was my last team I ended up playing with.
And then you had Gene Deckenhoff doing the play-by-play, so you're used to him doing Florida State games. So it's like this is home. This is like you're just sitting back. This is good. Yes,
definitely.
That's cool. Well, Melvin, thanks so much for coming on tonight. It was appreciated you taking some time out of your busy schedule, and I'm glad I found you on Facebook. And we'll probably get you on another time. We'll talk maybe at the end of the year. I'll try to get some Gator guys and see if they can stay in the corner, and then we'll get some people, and we'll talk Florida State and Noles and Gators, because that's the battle every year at the Thanksgiving.
That's Thanksgiving time. It'd be real nice, man. Honestly, I actually seen Jason Odom about 2-3 years ago. He and his son and my son was getting recruited at Nebraska. Okay. And we had a chance to talk. I think his son ended up going to the North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. Probably. Yeah, he was a pretty big boy. He was a pretty big boy. But like I said, I try to reunite with a lot of guys, but I don't get to see too many of them because not many of them are up here. Noddy is here, and I can't remember the other guy, Florida State guy here with Kansas City Chiefs. But, try to link up with those guys from time to time. Other than that, we're busy with our kids. That's how it goes now. I'm following my kids. I'm all over the place, trying to help them pursue their dreams and to do what Dad did and to do it better. Actually, I hope they do it better. So that's what they always tell me, Dad, I'm gonna do better than you did. I was like, well, I hope you do. I truly hope you do.
Exactly. Well, I hope to talk to you more down the road. Thanks for coming on, and enjoy the rest of the week. And hopefully Florida State pulls out a win on Saturday against Georgia Tech and keep this thing, get the rolling going so we can get to a good bowl game.
That's what I'm hoping for. The goal is just to get a bowl game. That's it. Right. Hey, all that other stuff they're talking, I want to at least get a bowl game, and we can start talking about, going on to the next level, 10-0 or something like that. That's what I'm looking forward to. But it's definitely exciting. I'm glad you guys gave me an opportunity to talk with you guys, and some Florida State guys, lovers. So hey, we're both on the same page. And I appreciate you guys having me on here, man. You guys have a good night.
Yeah, the cool thing is when I go see Florida State to cover for the media, I only saw them lost once. It was at Notre Dame. It was a couple of years ago. It was so bad. And my brother texts me, goes, "How's your nightmare?" I'm like, I can't leave. And I'm sitting there going like this, going. And then I talked to, no offense to Willie Taggart. I go, "Coach, why did you bring in Blackman?" He goes, "I forgot to." I'm like, right. I'm doing the what's this guy? The guy, one of the presidents who's running for president. I stared at him. I'm like,
right.
Like, little Chris does not want to hear that right now. Okay,
no.
You're ruining his team, and you better turn this thing around. And then you got broadcaster Chris going, "Calm down, relax. It's okay." Right. But on the way back to the hotel with my buddy, he goes, "What are you so upset about?" I'm like, I can't believe he said that. Right. Yeah. I was like flipped. I was like pissed in the car, But hey, that's why they get paid the big bucks, and we cover them.
Right, exactly.
All right, Coach. All right, Melvin. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. All right, you take it easy.
All right, see you. Bye.
Thanks, Melvin.
right, that's Melvin Pearsall, who broke the tight end record at Florida State. So for touchdowns, so that's pretty cool. So, folks, it's 8:47 here on a Tuesday night. Before we bring in our coach from Susquehanna, a reminder coming up at 9:05. We'll get this gentleman on. His name is Monacelli. Back in the day, who bowled on the Professional Bowlers Tour. He won this. He won the Quaker State back in 1990. I think it was 91, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Yeah, it's a good old. And I actually had a chance, Adam, to bowl in down at Grand Prairie. I was down there for the Cotton Bowl.
Okay.
And the next day, my buddy and Matt and I were like driving around. Go, Grand Prairie's like right down the street. I was like, yeah. And he's a bowling guy like me, like you. And I was like, dude, let's go bowl. So we drove to this and the bowling alley and the forum is in the middle of like this industrial park.
Okay.
And I'm like, we're like, where's the bowling alley? So we walked in and we found the bowling alley. And I asked the guy, so you guys still have the chandeliers around here? And he goes, how the hell do you know that? I was like, well, I used to watch bowling on TV, and this used to be a stop, like the third stop on the winter tour.
Yep.
He's like, yeah, we did, but they stole them. I'm like,
what? You stole all the chandeliers? How?
Stole the chandeliers.
How? I mean, it's like, Chris, you remember the proprietress Jeannie Halsey, who, it's like,
it's crazy.
Everyone who remembers the foreign ball, they always talked about the chandeliers hanging down, and that was one of the most coolest things, there. And now it's like, I don't even know if they still have them. It's called. I'm assuming they don't.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that, with Amleto Monacelli coming up at 9:05. So let's bring in the coach of Susquehanna University. They are rolling. They have an undefeated season, rolling down this week to take on Johns Hopkins in a Division III game. Going to at Homer Field. So let's bring in Tom Paverovich here. Hi, Tom. How you doing?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
Thank you so much for taking on your busy schedule. Big game this weekend for you guys. Taking on a Johns Hopkins squad is pretty good too. So what do you see in that game plan getting ready to take on the Blue Jays?
Yeah, they're outstanding. They've been just super efficient on offense. They're scoring 50 points a game and only giving up 14 points a game. So we'll definitely have our hands full. We got an outstanding quarterback and receiving crew. They've been running the ball well. So they're a tough group to, slow down. So we got to make sure we're doing a great job with, our game plan, mixing it up, guys doing their 1/11th and staying where they need to stay. And then defensively, they give you a lot of problems with pressure, and we got a couple outstanding defensive ends that you got to slow down, and and hopefully we can. We're playing pretty well on both sides of the ball also, and hopefully we can just keep the ball rolling in the right direction and stay in front of the chains and keep finish some drives. I think third down and being able to finish drives in the red zone with touchdowns is going to be a big factor in the football game. So I'm glad we have them home. I'm glad it's homecoming for us, and hopefully that adds and helps a little bit to our end of things.
Yeah. So you became head coach in 2022 this year. So this is your first year, but your eighth season. Your eighth season. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I've been here since 2015, our seventh season with COVID year.
Yeah. Everybody thinks 2020 is not even. It's like this was 2019 and 2021. 2020 is like.
We wish we had 2020. We had a good football team coming back, but things happen. So.
Yeah, talk about your eighth season there. You've been there for a while. So what do you see with that university? Getting better and better with talent coming up, because people don't realize Division III football. There's good schools in this area.
Yeah. I mean, we're our conference. Hopkins, Muhlenberg, us. Have been very good for a number of years now. We've been in the top 25 for a number of years. I think, football here at Susquehanna is pretty special. We've been playing football since 1892. This is actually our 123rd football season.
Wow.
That we've had. So, you minus the COVID year and the war years, that's the number you get. But, we're really passionate about it. We've got great setup, great facilities. Our biggest thing in recruiting is just get guys to campus. It's a drop dead beautiful place. And, with great academics and, we got an outstanding business school and just, really happy with the growth of our program over our time. And, we've had some guys believe in it and come here because we want to play in games like we're going to play on Saturday for championships, against Johns Hopkins. That's what we talk about. That's what we work for. That's who we are and what we're trying to do. And, we got a great group this year and guys that really love football, care about their academics and go out and try to dominate both areas. And, been really proud of just their maturity and how they've gone about their business day in, day out, but definitely a place where people care about football. And, that's been part of the rise. When we took over, they'd won 3 games in 2 years. And now, we're kind of a perennial top 25, one of the, top teams in the Centennial Conference and doing some good things. So
Adam, you got a question?
Yeah, Scott, I was looking at your schedule, and you guys have a rivalry game to end your year. So tell us about the rivalry between you guys and Juanita College. The goalpost trophy game. That's Scott, I'm assuming it'll be half Susquehanna and half Juanita College. When you guys play that game to end your year.
Yeah, it's everyone calls it Juanita. We do it as a joke, but it's Juniata College out south of Penn State State College. So, it's a cool history. We actually played 2 trophy games. We started our year with one against Lycoming, the Stag Hat Trophy, as part of our tradition, and then we finished the year against Juniata. It's a cool history. It's been played since 1952. It's an actual piece of goalpost from 1952 where Juniata student section tore down the goalpost. Back then they were wood, right? So a little bit easier than what they had to do at Tennessee last week. But we have it. It's mounted. It's about a 6-foot tall trophy, and all the winners are on it. And we hope to get number 7 and win number 7 in my time here, and keep that trophy where we think it belongs, which is in Selinsgrove.
Yeah. Talk about this game against the Blue Jays. Johns Hopkins is one of those quiet teams here in the state of Maryland because they don't realize there's a good team, that's down in the city. Because you think of Maryland, state of Maryland football, you think Terps, Towson, Morgan. Probably you guys played McDaniel. Last week you blew them out 58-0. But they don't realize there's other schools in the state of Maryland, and it's pretty cool that you guys play these small. I didn't even know there's more college football in the state of Maryland than up in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, there's definitely a few. I mean, Pennsylvania's got a ton of schools, but yeah, Johns Hopkins has been one of the best teams in the country for the last 20 years. And Jim Margraf was there for a long time before he passed. He turned that program into, one of the top cream of the crop type of places. I mean, they're always in the conversation for conference championships and playoff berths. And they went to the Final Four a couple years ago. They went to the Final 16, Final 8. They've had it rolling, and they're different than a lot of other teams in our conference because they have because of their name, obviously, and their academic reputation. Their roster is very different from the fact that they recruit kids from all over the country, really all over the world, but, definitely all over the country. So, we're very regional. Our kids are all from, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, a little bit of Delaware, a little bit here and there, but they got guys from, Texas and Oregon and California. So it's cool to play against guys like that, but it's a little bit different. But they've done an awesome job there. Coach Chimera does an awesome job, and they're so well coached. And it's always one of the best games we play every year. And we've had some great battles with them over the last 4, beating them twice. They've beaten us twice, and in some tight games. But it's always a pretty good game and a rivalry that unfortunately we'll see end because we're changing conferences next year. But we're excited to play them this Saturday. And what's a top 20 matchup, and what seems to be what's going to be the decider of the conference. So, what other way would you want it, right?
Right, exactly. Adam, you have one final question?
I was looking at your stats, and you guys are averaging 40 points a game. So, can you keep up that momentum on Saturday against Johns Hopkins?
We sure hope so. That's the plan. That's the plan. That's what we're hoping. Obviously, we've played pretty well offensively the last 2 weeks. I feel like our quarterback, Michael Roosh, who's a 5th-year senior, is really hitting stride right now, which is very different than a year ago. He was kind of on a downturn a year ago, and we've worked really hard this offseason and obviously during this season to make sure that the trigger man is clicking. And, so we're looking for a good game for him, and he's getting the ball to some really good playmakers. And, we hope to be pretty close to that number. I think if we are, then I think we probably win the game. But they're high powered, and it's going to be a back and forth battle. And, we hope we can be efficient in our defense, which is right now the number 1 defense in our conference, does their part and can slow them down. It's kind of an interesting setup. You got the number 1 offense versus the number 1 defense. You got the number 2 offense versus the number 2 defense. So it's, kind of what's going to happen, who's going to play better, who's going to play harder. All those things will be figured out at 1:00 on Saturday. But we hope so. We hope we have a pretty good plan, and our kids understand it. And thought we had a really good practice today. And so hopefully we can, parlay that into a successful weekend.
That's true. Well, Coach, thanks so much for coming on tonight, and good luck this weekend against Johns Hopkins. We'll hopefully talk to you more down the road.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
All right, Coach. Thanks for coming on.
Yep. Thank you.
Bye. That's Coach Tom Pereira, who is the head coach at Susquehanna University up there in the Riverhawks up there in, I think the university is outside of Philadelphia. I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I got to look at it. Folks, if you're just logged in, thanks for joining us. We are having a technical difficulty with Facebook for some apparent reason. Facebook is not working. If you see, I'll put the link out there for you folks. If you're, hold on a second, you can go to our website and you can watch it from there.
Mm-hmm.
So hold on here. Yeah. So let me put this out here. Yeah, here's our website. If you want to watch the show, if you just logged in, you can go to our website, and the video from YouTube is right there on our front of our page. So if you want to tune in for that, so thanks for joining us. It's the top of the hour, 9:00. We are once in a while we do a special, continuation of the show here because of we got so many people that want to join us, and we try to get them all in, and some days we just don't have a lot of room and all that stuff. So today, thanks for joining us. Today's date is October 25th, and let me get Auman Monacelli on the phone here. Let me give him a couple minutes because he's probably driving home from Clearwater. He works for some youth bowlers.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's also the manager of the PBA league that the mayor of Portland wants to introduce him. So I guess you want to introduce the mayor.
Yeah, I want to introduce the mayor, manager of the Las Vegas High Rollers. Oh yeah, Chris, you know it. Yeah.
And then we'll finish up the show at 9:15 with Mike Gross from Lancaster, who does his newspapers up there. Folks, before we bring out get a hold of Letta Monacelli, you want to know where George is right now. George is doing his door-to-door pitch to become the board of school trustee at large seat. I talked to him today, Adam. It's actually it is Board of Education, but it's a fancy little name.
Okay.
Chris. But get this, folks. You don't realize some of these people who do They run for the Board of Education. They get paid for it.
Yes, they do. Yes,
But
they
you know
do.
what George is doing, and I was trying to get George to come on tonight, but right now he's probably busy with his campaigning. He's going to donate the money of his share that he gets paid to do this. If we vote for him in his district, he's going to make a scholarship for kids who can't, these field trips they have.
Mm-hmm.
They can go out of state field trips they can't afford. This scholarship is going to be something for them they could actually enjoy the situation and enjoy the trips out there for the field trips.
Nice. All right. Go. All right.
Yeah. So let me call Mr. Monacelli here, who you and I grew up watching on the Professional Bowlers Tour back in the day.
Yep. Sure did, Chris.
Yep. I grew up watching this guy a lot. Yeah. Let's put his on the phone. So let me get him on real quick here. Folks, next week, we'll house cleaning work here. Next week here on the show, we'll be on at 8 o'clock next Tuesday night because due to the college football playoff, we do not want to go on at the same time. Yeah, so we're going to start at 8 o'clock next week, 8 to 9, just an hour show like we try to do here from 7 to 9, an 1 hour show. We will have let me bring this down here. We'll have the general manager of the new Annapolis Blues FC, Fred Mathis, will be joining us next Tuesday night. If you want to hear from him for the first time, he has a great resume. Used to work with the DC United for a long time. A lot of MLS stuff over the years. So a good person to start be a GM of a brand new team that's going to be playing in the state capital in 2023 next year. So that's going to be cool. So we'll have him on the program next week at 8 o'clock. So let's bring in. Let's get Amleto on the phone here. Yeah, let me get him on. Yeah, hope he. So this is the. Oh. Hi, Amleto. It's Chris Heidel from Herb FM Radio and Adam. We're here having you live on the phone. Thanks for joining us tonight. How are you?
Good. How are you, Chris?
Not bad.
Thank you for having me over.
No problem. And you ran into this guy, Adam, up in Portland, because he covered the PBA League, and you were the manager of the Las Vegas High Rollers. So he probably ran into him. So say hello to Adam.
Yeah, hi, Adam.
Hi, Amleto. Really cool to have you on the show. And can I ask, what did you think of the crowd at Bayside Bowl for the PBA League? First time there. So, what did you think of the atmosphere?
Oh my God, it's great. It's very exciting. It's like, the atmosphere is fantastic, especially in Portland, Maine. We are all the people so excited. They're screaming and, they're pulling for whatever team they want to go for. But it's a tough job. You're dealing with the best bowlers in the world. There's not much you can do. Just help them basically to control their emotions, where they're bowling, because, they want it so bad, but, at the same time, sometimes you have to be more like a mentor, relax, breathe, whatever, because they know what to do on the lanes, basically. And a lot of times, you gotta tell them, I see this, you gotta do this, try that, nothing to lose. But it's exciting. It's very exciting.
Yeah, it seems like you guys had a great time up there. I found some highlights of you on YouTube, and I grew up. Adam and I grew up watching you on the Professional Bowlers Tour. I remember you had these two. You had bowling shoes with two different colors. Bowling shoes. I think one time I think I heard a story. I think it was on TV. Did you get your shoes stolen one time on tour?
Yes.
Yeah. So explain that story.
Yeah, they were stolen in New York, I believe, and so I didn't have shoes for the show, and I needed to get a pair.
Yeah.
And I bought two pairs at the same time. And for some reason, what happened was that when I was practicing, the left shoe of the white pair didn't, it wasn't really sliding. It was sliding too much, and I needed to change to the other shoe that has this perforated sole that make you stop a little more. So instead of changing the whole pair, I said, well, I'm going to change just the left shoe because I didn't have that much time. So I got the white and the red, and then I ended up finishing second in that tournament, and I left it like a good luck charm. And I stayed with it for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years until then I started seeing a lot of bowlers doing a white shoe with a brown or a white with a blue. I said, this is not fun anymore. Everybody's doing it.
You're like, hey, you stole my idea. Yeah, come on now.
Yeah, they took my idea.
Yeah. Well, and like I was saying, growing up watching you on TV, it's pretty cool to get a chance to talk to you on the phone. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, this is cool. When I called you this afternoon, I'm thinking, wow, little Chris is having a great time now. He's talking to all his bowlers he grew up watching. And thank you, ABC Professional Bowler Store, put me in front of the television because my mom made it as my babysitter because my mom told me, like, yeah, I put you in front of that television and you were gone for a good hour and a half. I'm like, good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's ABC Sports was unbelievable. That channel, like everybody watched it every time. And even the guys that are born like Tommy Jones when they were kids, he told me that he couldn't wait until get home and watch it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon to watch the show. And it was just they knew that was coming and they couldn't wait until we were there.
Yeah. What was your how did you get into bowling? Because I know I'm trying to remember because I've been reading some stuff, getting to know you back because when I was a kid, I had a videotape of all the bowling matches and you were on one of my tapes. And did your parents have a bowling center down in Venezuela?
Yes. Well, I was 8 years old when I started bowling.
Okay.
That was before my dad bought the bowling center.
Okay.
Then when I turned 11, he bought a bowling center, which was about 4 blocks away from my home. And, I got the opportunity to get from school every day at 1 o'clock and just go to the bowling center and practice. And that's when I really, really got into it. Just fell in love with the sport. I just couldn't stop bowling. I couldn't stop learning. And, and still till today, I'm still learning a lot. I just love it.
Yeah. Before I let Adam ask a question, who was your toughest person to bowl with on TV? Because when I was growing up, it was you and Pete Weber and Marshall Holman, Mark Roth, Brian Voss was one of the top names at the time. Who was that bowler that you're like, God, I can't beat him? I try everything.
I think, it's kind of hard to say, but I would say if I had to go by the records, but for me was, Marshall Holman, I bowled him twice. I couldn't beat him. Wayne Webb, twice. I lost 2 titles. I think 1 or 2 titles one title against him. So I think everyone is really tough, but it depends on your experience. But in my case, those 2, and also another one that is really tough is Walter Ray, but I beat him a couple of times too, and he beat me a couple of times too. So it comes and goes. I think it all depends of that moment, how you are physically, emotionally, to challenge, to have that challenge that day. So to me, it's more about that really the bowler itself. I mean, those bowlers, not only they're great on the lanes, but they're very strong mentally. So any one of those guys, they were really strong. But for me, it was more about me trying to see how I can beat the lane, because actually your opponent is the lane and the surface and how you play the lanes according to the condition that you are. So it's not really the ball, it's the lane. But then it's all about how you take things that are not good, like if you're not bowling good, how can you get out of it? And how strong are you at that moment to get out of it and try to beat the guy? So to me, at that level, everyone it's tough, to be honest.
Right. Yeah, we're showing highlights of your, throughout your career with your different, your style, and you can tell when you first come out, you're younger, you're down, you actually were down a little bit, in the approach. And when you got older, you brought it up a little bit because I guess, when you get older, your body's like, I can't go down that low. Forget that idea.
That's a good thing that you're talking about right now. But the game has changed a lot. Right. The lanes, the balls, but I needed to get that low to get more on the ball. I was trying to get the ball more on the ball, doing it that way, the way I did it. But now the bowling balls are so strong that for me, it's better to stay higher now because you can make your flat spot a lot longer than if you are too low. And also the powerful bowling balls, you need to really you can't really hit it too hard because otherwise they're gonna get a reaction like over and under. And it took me a process of about 3 years on the tour when the change came from urethane to reactive to understand what I needed to change in my game to be able to compete at that level.
That's true. Adam, you got a question?
Yeah. Now you were one of the first international stars to come out on the PBA tour. So tell us how. Talk to us about how many international stars you see out there on the PBA tour now. You have people like Jason Belmonte from Australia, Oscar Palermo, Francois Lebois.
Okay, hold on. Repeat that real quick. What'd you say? I couldn't hear you. Orlando, I can't hear you. What happened?
Yes. No, I couldn't hear what he was asking me.
Okay, he was asking you, with all the, you're the first international player, came out, in our time, you won the Player of the Year, back-to-back years. Now you see people like Jason Belmonte, you see, the guy from Sweden, the Iceman bowling, you see a lot of the guy from England, Don Barrett. What's it like having those players coming over here now and they knew about you growing up?
Well, yeah, when I came out, it was really tough because, I was the only foreigner basically to be on tour full time. There were some international players that came out. Mats Carlson was there for a few years. But basically, I was the only one really for that long before the international players started to come out on the tour. It was really, really rough for many reasons: culture, and English, the language barrier, the food. I mean, I needed to get used to so many things. The immigration problem that I had. So I really had to confront a lot of obstacles. That actually it was good in a way because it made me a lot stronger. It made me a lot stronger, but at the same time, I needed to work really hard, to confront, for example, like races, when I started bowling really good, the guys were pissed because I was beating them. They were saying, "Go back home with your banana bowl. What are you doing here? Taking my food." I said, "I'm not taking your food. I'm beating you on the lanes. You think I'm not taking your job? I'm just beating you on the lanes. Just practice more, I guess." It was tough, man. And now it's like I tell like Jason a few times we talk about that, and I said, I had to go through the jungle and cut all the grass for you guys. You can come over now, and now it's so easy, isn't it? Yeah, and they laugh about it, but it's true. It's true. It was very hard. In fact, since we're on an interview, but I wrote a book. It's called Dream, Believe, and Do It, and the whole story is there. It's a really good book because first of all, it's very inspirational and motivational, and then second of all, it's more about my life story. How could I come on the tour and all the things that I had to go through. And in the book, you have like QRs that you can put your phone in it and takes you straight to YouTube and explain exactly what I was talking about during the story of that chapter. So it's pretty good because whatever I say is right there documented in the YouTube by the QR.
Yeah. So where can people get that book? Because I would like to sit down and read it because it's about your.
Yes.
Yeah. Where can they get it?
Right now, it's on. It's bowlershouse.com.
Okay.
It's called Bowler's House, and you can get the book there.
Okay. So I'll put the tweet out. I'll put it out there for people if they want to.
Yeah, I know a lot of people don't know, and we're trying to expand and try to do that, but it's slowly selling a lot. But it's there. It's definitely there. I really recommend the book for people who have really dreams in their life, and understand that you need to just stay strong and never give up, and that dream will come true.
Yeah. Hey, like we always have dreams. I had a dream
every time.
Yeah. I was telling my buddy at work the other day. My dream was to bowl on TV when I was a kid growing up, and I never got a chance to do it. But I'm thinking to myself, maybe I should still try. Maybe maybe I have to get new bowling balls because I have so many old ones. But maybe I should I should get a new one and try it. But but it's true. You got to. You got to work your tail off because you have to get it because nobody's going to give it to you, and you got to do it yourself.
Nobody.
Yeah.
And like I tell people, you get what you give. You have to give a lot to get. It's just simple as that. It's a math.
Yeah, I just saw it. I found it in your book on Amazon. It's on a paperback book, so that's pretty.
Yeah,
cool
that's
too.
not good. No, I tell people to buy on Bowler's House because the book on Bowler's House is made with is not a laser system like they did with Amazon. This one is conventional printed, and they have it's a lot better material. So definitely get the one on Bowler's House.
Okay, all right, cool. Yeah, I was just looking through it on the website. And I was like, oh, Amazon, that's cool. But hey,
yeah, and Amazon takes all the money too.
Well, Amleto, thank you so much for coming on tonight, and thanks for taking some time out of your busy schedule. And we'll talk to you again soon down the road. Okay.
No problem, Chris. Thank you for having me over, Adam. Take care.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. Have a great week.
Thank you. Thank you. You too.
All right, bye.
Bye.
And Chris, it's called If You Can See That. There's Amleto and me up in Portland, Maine. There you go for all you viewers out there. Yeah, it's called him. Yeah, I was like, I mean.
Yeah, let me look for it. He said, what does it say? Something.
Bowlershouse.com.
Bowlershouse.com. Okay.
Bowlershouse.com. Yes.
Bowlers House.
Actually, I'm on the website right now, and it's
House.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bowlershouse.com. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me pull it up here. Hold on a second. I'm trying to. I don't see it. I just. Anyway, if you want to send me the link, I can put it out.
I will. If you go to Pro Shop Items at bowlerhouse.com, there's a section called Books, and it's the only book there.
Okay. The only book. Okay, I got the website. Okay, here you go. They have bowling balls, bowling shoes, pro items. Yeah, books. Okay, here it is. Oh, that's cool. All right, so let's bring it up here. The folks, the name of the book is "Dream, Believe in Doing: The Art of Achieving a Life with a Purpose" by Monacelli. So that's cool. Mm-hmm. And it's a book about his career, folks. So
yes, it is. Yeah.
So here is.
I would recommend go get it. But actually, I'm gonna probably get it soon for myself because I mean, Chris, it's called when I was a kid. I mean, I never thought I would go see the PBA tour in person. And now here I am. I've traveled all over the country, so it's like, it was a dream of mine, and I've achieved it. So it's like, I never would have thought all this would happen, but here I am, and it's happening. It's happening.
Yeah. So, so here's the website. Let me bring it up for you. That's the website, folks, if you want to get the book from bowlershouse.com/product/dream and believe in doing it, the art of achieving a life with a purpose by Auman Monacelli. And that's a really cool book. And let me bring up see if I can take a picture of it here and show you the folks see the image. No, hopefully I can pull it up. Yeah. No, that's a web thing. Copy image. Anyway, I'm trying to get a photograph for you folks, but it's a web page. Yeah. So anyway, so we're waiting for Mike Gross to join us here shortly. I hope he didn't forget about joining us. I know he's a busy guy getting ready for this weekend's games. This big game up there in State College. We didn't talk about it tonight here on the program, but we'll talk about it a little bit before we wrap it up here at 9:30. Let's bring in. Hopefully, Mike will be coming on soon. Yeah, Mike is. So that's the website, folks. If you want to go there, if you want to watch the show tonight, I didn't put the video on the website. I thought I had it on there. I guess something happened to it, but If you're watching us, thanks for tuning us in on YouTube or on Twitter. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll be back on next week. Yeah, see, I forgot to put it back on. That's my fault. So let me see if Mike sent me a text message because he was using his laptop here. Hold on a second. Oh, we got a message. We got a communication. Yes, there we go. Let me see if he's there real quick. Let me text Mike. Yeah, so. Are you set? Yeah. Are you ready? To join us? So we're still waiting for Mike real quick before we log off here. He is the Penn State beat writer for the Lancaster, Pennsylvania, in the newspapers up there in beautiful Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So anyway, Adam, let's just talk about, that was pretty cool talking to a little.
Yeah, it's like, Chris, like I said, we grew up watching how those legends, and now here we are, we're talking to them and getting pictures with them, and it's like our dream is achieved. It's like, it's like,
It's pretty cool. I get a chance to try to find these bowlers, and I was talking to a coworker, and I'm thinking to myself, we were talking yesterday, and he actually watches bowling too, and he goes, man, Kyle Troop's pretty cool. I like that when he brings out the pick and picks his hair. I go, yeah, he's a cool guy, and and Norm Duke, when you get a chance to spend time with these people, you're just average Joes. They're just.
It's like, when you hang around them, it's like, Chris, you think about other sports, Major League Baseball, the NFL. It's hard to be around all those guys, but on the PBA tour, it's like, they, all the bowlers, the commissioner, Tom Clark, people in TV, it's called, you can go up to them when they're not busy and
we had
take pictures and sign bowling balls. And it's like, you don't have to pay a thing. They're right there.
Right, exactly. And to me, it's like, I was thinking about maybe getting Tom Clark on, not next week, the week after, and talk to him about this whole situation about the night, bowling on TV. That's great if you want to put it on prime TV on prime time, but you got to find out when things are not on, because I feel like sometimes they put. By the way, the Wizards won 119-98 over the Pistons. Wow, that's a beating.
Wow.
If you live in the DC area, you get a Big Mac for $2 tomorrow on the McDonald's app. That's where I'm going.
There you go, Chris. It's called lunch.
Somebody's not watching.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Oh no. I'm just kidding. Yeah, but anyway, so so it was great to have these guys on. I think Mike's pretty busy with getting stuff on for with Penn State and Ohio State. And the last time they played each other, it was actually at Penn State. It's actually when they had nobody in the stands.
Oh, really? So it's 220. Oh, you mean so it was 2020?
It was during the pandemic. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm looking at the.
That's crazy.
Oh, okay. He's going to be on in a minute. So.
Okay.
So we'll finish up with the last 5 minutes with him. So that's the last time Ohio State was at State College. Yeah. We'll see the overhaul. Yeah. Ohio State versus Penn State series. Okay, football rivalry. All right. Wow. So you get this a first meeting for Notre Dame, for Penn State and Ohio State. You got to go back to 1912.
Wow.
November 16th, 1912. And I don't think Mike was covering this game. November.
Around the beginning of my career.
Yeah.
I don't really remember it that clearly.
Yeah, you were up there in November the 16th, 1912. You were up there with the crank of the car and
primitive conditions. That's right.
So how you been, sir? How's everything? How are you guys? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. You know, we're in the middle of season, so it's kind of in the submarine football mode, but that's okay. You know, no complaints.
Well, I'm looking forward to this weekend because I'm actually going to come up because I had to get done with the dog duty. You know, this past week I had to take care of my parents' dog, so I couldn't get up to the Minnesota game. But I'm all set for the Ohio State game, so it's going to be cool to see Ohio State in person.
Yeah, I wish it wasn't a noon kick.
I know. My buddy was like, "Why is it noon?" I'm like, "Because Fox wants the money."
Yeah, that's Fox. It's a Fox thing. They like. I mean, if you think about it, Ohio State, Michigan has often, or maybe always, been a noon kick. But when Fox got on board with this, you know, that's a direction that we're going to go. It won't be like that every year, but it will be like that probably every other year. I mean, but, you know, that's fine. You know, it's I think it should. I think it's an interesting matchup, and I don't know if Penn State can win. I kind of don't think they can because Ohio State is just too good. But I think you could argue that it's a more favorable matchup in terms of the styles of play than, say, Michigan was.
Right, I agree, and I took a trip out to Ann Arbor to see the Maryland game. You know, out in Michigan, and I gotta say, Michigan, you know, is not that all you can see because they kept Maryland in that ball game. You know, they should. Yeah,
Maryland gave them a really good game. Yeah. That kind of impressed me, especially when I saw Michigan against Penn State, because you would think Maryland would have some of the same issues against Michigan that Penn State did. I mean, they're relatively undersized, athletic team, but a little undersized, and Michigan's offensive line is really good, and two running backs. I mean, they can play that old school style that Harbaugh likes to play, yeah, they're tough. I'm not sure they can't beat Ohio State this year. I mean, I'm not predicting that, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think Ohio State hasn't been challenged yet because if you look,
they have not played a tough schedule.
They've been playing like they were playing Wichita State University Part 2. They played
Part 2.
Yeah, Part 2.
Okay, there you go.
Notre Dame University or Notre Dame. I'm just making fun of Notre Dame, but it's like Notre Dame was the preseason top whatever, and now they're like what 4-3.
Well, I mean, they lost to Marshall the week before that, and the week after that, and the week after that, Marshall lost to Bowling Green or something.
Right.
Unbelievable. However, I watched that. That was the opening week when Penn State played Thursday, so I could just watch football on Saturday, and I watched that Notre Dame Ohio State game, and Notre Dame did a tremendous job of defensing them for the first like 2.5 quarters of the game. And then Ohio State kind of put the game away by running right at them, by kind of wearing them out and running right at them, which you don't think about that as being a thing that Ohio State does, and really hasn't been since then, the kind of thing that they do. So I think probably Penn State has spent a lot of time looking at that film, and even Iowa. I mean, I know Ohio State scored 54 last week, but even they caused some problems for Ohio State's offense. They couldn't run the ball effectively. So I don't know. I mean, there's some things to go on. Ohio State is not bulletproof, but I think their talent is just really impressive. Great quarterback, great receivers, good skill positions all over the place, and their defense is better. And they have a new coordinator who has changed the way they play defense, I think, for the better, to take advantage of the athletes they have.
So, Adam, you had a question for Mike?
Yeah. No, Mike, Chris and I were discussing this game earlier, and we think it could be a shootout. Kind of like you see in the Big 12. Sean Clifford with Penn State and C.J. Stroud with Ohio State. So do you think it'll be a close game on Saturday, or do you think Ohio State's going to go in there and
I mean, Ohio State is a 14.5, 15-point favorite. If I was a betting man, and I'm not, I don't think I would be betting on Penn State. However, the best unit, the best position group on Penn State's team is its secondary. So they are relatively well equipped to battle those receivers. And you're going to see, for example, you might see a one-on-one matchup between Marvin Harrison Jr. and Joey Porter Jr., two sons of former NFL players who are terrific college players who are going to be going to play on Sundays and going to be high draft picks. You could see that. The matchup to watch is those receivers for Ohio State against those D-backs for Penn State.
Yeah, this is going to be a big day up there. You got college, you got big noon kickoff, with our good friend Rob Stone and everybody up there, and then the game's at noon. And I feel like I have to get up early. Hopefully, there's no fog in this area, so I could get up a little bit earlier and maybe get there for.
Oh yeah, you're going to have to get up there early, dude. If you want to, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah. I got up there for the Ohio game the last time, and I left here a little bit late, like I told you. And the guy let me park in the front row of lot 31. He goes, just take a spot. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yes, I mean sometimes the whole parking thing up there. I mean that's a podcast in and of itself. But I mean, we got up there yesterday or last week. We got there, we got there late because it's 7 o'clock, and we're not tailgating or anything. Well. Right. The whole row of parking spots was taken. So I'm parking in some spot where motorcyclists are supposed to go, but, there were no motorcycles. That's a whole story. That's a whole other subject.
We'll have a podcast of Mike Gross parking regimens up there.
Well, they hired some experts up there
to
change everything in the parking deal. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, the last time Penn State beat Ohio State at home was 2016. It could happen. Anything happens on Saturday.
Yeah, they made if you remember in that game, they made a huge play on special teams. They blocked a field goal. Marcus Allen, who's now in the NFL playing for the Steelers, blocked a field goal. And the ball caromed off his bicep and went to the side. And Grant Haley, a corner who is also in the NFL now, scooped it up and took off and almost got run down by the kicker, if you remember. But got all the way to the end zone. And but in fairness to Penn State, Ohio State had the ball, I think, twice after that and did nothing. Penn State really defended them down the stretch. And if they would have had to drive the ball down the field and scored rather than get that spectacular play on special teams, I don't know if they could have done it. But they did stop them at the end. They did stop them. They did rush the passer. They did disrupt Ohio State down the stretch in that game. And that was part of a Big Ten championship season during which they got smacked silly by Michigan in like week 4, I think it was. And then in week 5, they played Minnesota here and beat them in overtime and didn't lose again until the Rose Bowl. That was a little bit different team with Trace McSorley and Saquon Barkley and really a big home run hitting team that could hit big plays in the passing game, which Penn State right now is not quite that.
That's cool. Well, Mike, thanks for coming on. I will see you Saturday.
So, okay. Looking forward to it.
Saturday,
hopefully it's competitive enough to be, compelling. I'm looking forward to it.
I'll see you Saturday. Hopefully the breakfast is good.
Oh, yeah. They do a pretty good job with that up there. There used to be a problem. Now it's pretty good.
It's good. Good food. I like it. So, all right, sir. I'll see you soon.
All right. Be good, man.
I will.
Sure, Mike.
Bye.
Yeah.
All right. That's our good friend Mike Gross, who covers Penn State football. Well, we're going to wrap it up here. Thanks for joining us. And I want to say thank you to 2 special people who are watching right now, Charlie and Suzanne Hewler. Hi. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for helping me out the last couple weeks with the dog. So appreciate it if you're still out there. So also thanks for everybody for joining us. And also we'll see you guys next Tuesday at a special time because I think on Tuesdays we're going to be for a month. I think with the college football playoff, we're going to be at 8 o'clock because it'll be, because I think 1 week they're doing it at 9, so we could do it early. But we'll play it by ear. So we'll see you guys next Tuesday night. at 8 o'clock, a special time. So, from now until then, I'm Chris Heidel. And before you go, folks, if you're living in the Indiana area, please, and you live in this guy's district, make sure you vote for him on November 8th for, part of the Board of Education. And by the way, he's going to be on TV next week in Indiana from 7 to 8, talking to the people. So
watch. It's called. Yeah, so watch and go vote for George Becerra.
Exactly. Well, let me, thanks for joining us, and we'll have a great night, and thanks for watching.